Hey, it's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Date, Sunday, 14 December 2025. Time is 12 o'clock. Come take your seat. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here. Good morning and welcome to News Around the Globe on Aneke TV, your trusted window to the major developments across Nigeria and the global community. I'm Nancy Marianne and we are glad to have you join us this morning. The headlines. President Tinubu and French President hold high-level security talks as U.S. fact-finding team arrives Nigeria. Nigeria commends armed forces for supporting restoration of constitutional order in neighboring Benin Republic. Federal government releases 1 billion naira compensation to residents of Cross River states. Imo State government seals mortuary and hotel over alleged organ harvesting activities. Katsina communities protest 6-month power outage affecting social and economic activities. And on the foreign scene, Benin Republic thwarts attempted coup as loyal security forces reassert control. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu travels to the United States to conclude Phase 2 of Gaza peace plan. Hong Kong records near lowest voter turnout amid public outrage following fatal building fire. And on business, Abia State Governor flags of major electricity infrastructure upgrade. And to entertainment story, Mercy Johnson and widow of the late actor Junior Pope delight fans in new viral video. BB Niger star Queen responds to public misconceptions following marital breakdown. And now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has held telephone talks with French President Emmanuel Macron on Nigeria's worsening security situation, with both leaders focusing on terrorist threats across the north. Mr. Macron pledged stronger French support for Nigerian authorities and for communities affected by violence. The discussion comes weeks after President Tinubu declared a nationwide security emergency and directed security agencies to prioritize the protection of schools and worship centers. Our United States delegation also arrived in Abuja for consultations with the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, on counterterrorism and regional stability. The visit follows continued scrutiny by U.S. lawmakers over alleged religious freedom violations in Nigeria, which the federal government strongly denies, insisting there is no persecution of Christians. Washington is, however, pushing ahead with investigations into alleged genocide claims. Security analysts warn that the governance failures in parts of the north continue to worsen insecurity, fueling radicalization and poverty. Professor Abubakar Sadiq noted that the north remains the epicenter of multidimensional poverty, with 65% of Nigeria's poor residents and a majority of the country's out-of-school children, stressed that persistent inequality is driving extremist recruitment. Former presidential aspirant Wenga Hashim added that northern official elites must take responsibility for decades of leadership failures. Meanwhile, the federal government has secured the release of 100 school children abducted in Niger State following a series of rescue operations launched after the NSA visited the affected community. President Bola Tinubu has praised the Nigerian armed forces in their swift action in helping foil a coup attempt in the Republic of Benin. Acting on an emergency request from the Beninese government, Nigeria deployed air and ground assets to protect key institutions and support loyalist forces. The intervention came after coup plotters seized the national broadcaster and announced the removal of President Patrice Talon. Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, confirmed that Nigerian fighter jets secured the airspace while ground troops stabilized strategic locations. The assistance enabled Benin's loyal forces to regain control of the national broadcaster after several hours of confrontation. The coup leader, Colonel Pascal Tigri, and his group were pushed out of the facility during the operation. President Tinubu said Nigeria acted in line with ECOWAS protocols designed to defend democratic governance and prevent unconstitutional changes of government. He commended the military for standing gallantly as a defender of constitutional order across the sub-region. The federal government has secured the release of 100 pupils abducted from St. Mary's Catholic School, Wapuri in Niger State. The children were among the 315 persons seized when armed groups attacked the school in the early hours of November 21. 50 pupils initially escaped, leaving 265 others in captivity, including 12 teachers. Search operations by security forces and community hunters intensified across forests in Niger North senatorial districts. The state government said prior intelligence had indicated rising threats in the region, prompting it to shut down boarding schools and suspend construction activities. Authorities disclosed that the school reopened without official clearance, a claim denied by the management. The government condemned the attack and said it continues to work closely with federal security agencies to secure the remaining hostages. Families have been assured that ongoing rescue operations will not relent until all abductees are freed. Community leaders have also been urged to maintain vigilance in the affected areas. Security agencies have not released details on whether negotiations or force led to the latest release. Efforts remain underway to track the armed group responsible for the abductions. Vice President Kashim Shettima has traveled to Abidjan to represent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the inauguration of Alassane Ouattara for the fourth term as President of Côte d'Ivoire. The ceremony is scheduled to hold at the Presidential Palace on Monday, December 8th. Shettima will join other African leaders attending the event. The delegation includes the ECOWAS Commission President Omar Toure, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Senator Abubakar Bello, and House of Representatives member Usman Zana. President Ouattara was re-elected on October 25 in a poll that extended his leadership in the West African nation. Nigeria and Côte d'Ivoire maintain long-standing cooperation under ECOWAS and the African Union, covering security, trade, agriculture, and digital development. Both countries also operate a binational commission that guides joint agreements and enhances economic collaboration. Large informal trade networks and a vibrant Nigerian community in Côte d'Ivoire further strengthen bilateral ties. The Vice President is expected to return to Abuja after the inauguration ceremonies. Diplomatic engagements between both countries will continue in line with regional integration commitments. The federal government has commenced compensation payments to communities affected by the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Federal Controller of Works Yinka Onafui confirmed that 1 billion naira has already been disbursed to impacted residents in Cross River states. Between 700 and 1,000 people across 12 communities have received payments directly into their bank accounts. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, inspected Section 3A and 3B of the project and reaffirmed President Tinubu's determination to deliver the 750-kilometer highway. Umahi said the road will be equipped with safety features including relief stations, solar lighting, and CCTV surveillance to ensure rapid emergency response. He added that the project represents a long-standing national infrastructure vision. Contractors High-Tech Africa said more resources and manpower will be deployed to meet the 36-month completion target. The company is working through challenging swampy terrain requiring extensive earthworks. Senate Committee Chairman on Works, Senator Mpigi Branada, said the project scale and cost are justified by its strategic importance. Local community representatives expressed support for the project, saying it will enhance economic expansion across the corridor. The ministry assured that compensation will continue as construction progresses. Former Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has denied allegations of corruption linked to his ambassadorial nomination. Reports had cited a 2024 KPMG document as evidence of financial irregularities during his administration. His media advisor, Engineer Paulos, classified that KPMG only conducted a process review, not a forensic audit capable of indicting any public official. Apollos further dismissed claims that Ikpeazu diverted huge sums of money, saying that alleged figures exceed the state's total revenue during his 8-year tenure. He insisted that the report was misrepresented by those seeking to tarnish the former governor's image. Ikpeazu maintains he left office without any legal blemish. The former governor also refuted rumors that he had defected to the APC. His media aide said Ikpeazu remains a committed member of the PDP, demonstrated by his attendance at recent party stakeholders' meetings. He said the allegation of defection was politically motivated. Ikpeazu's camp described the controversy as an attempt to frustrate his ambassadorial appointments. They expressed confidence that the Senate will confirm him based on merits and his record in public service. The Imo State government has sealed a hotel and a private mortuary in Ngokpala following a police operation that uncovered decomposed bodies in suspicious conditions. The discovery raised concerns over possible organ harvesting activities linked to criminal groups. The raid targeted a notorious suspect, Stanley Morocco Oparugo, who remains at large. Police spokesperson Mr. Okoye Henry said both facilities were allegedly used by kidnappers and violent criminals operating along the Owerri-Aba Expressway. Security personnel also recovered crucial evidence during a search of the suspect's residence. The state government ordered an immediate shutdown of the buildings to preserve public health and support ongoing investigations. Commissioner of Police Aboki Danjuma assured residents that all accomplices will be apprehended. He declared the suspect wanted and urged members of the public to provide relevant information to aid the investigation. Authorities say the crackdown is part of broader efforts to reduce violent crimes in the state. The development comes amid renewed calls for an independent probe into alleged misconduct by the state's anti-kidnapping unit. Public pressure has intensified following the controversial death of businessman Livy Opera in police custody last year. Residents of Abuja Quarters, Brahim Layout, Shah Ishakawa, and Tigray Maize communities in Katsina State have protested a 6-month power outage that has plunged over 5,000 households into hardship. The blackout has worsened water shortages and heightened security concerns across the affected areas. Protesters blame the outage on illegal structures built beneath a 33 kV power line. A community representative, Usman Mohammed Al-Qasim, alleged that a demolition exercise to clear the line was halted after the Batagarawa Council chairman intervened. He said the chairman assured residents that funds had been approved to relocate the line, but no work has started. Some houses initially marked for removal now have electricity, while larger communities remain in darkness. The village head of Brahim Layout, Shirajo Aminu, said insecurity has increased because residents cannot power security lights or pump water. He appealed for urgent government intervention to restore normalcy. The prolonged outage has forced many households to rely on generators and water vendors. Council Chairman Yahaya Kawo acknowledged the challenges and said efforts were underway to resolve the crisis within the week. Residents vowed to sustain pressure until electricity is restored. News around the globe is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can stay connected with us on all social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. We now take a quick recap of the major stories making the news. President Tinubu and President Macron hold high-level security talks as the United States fact-finding team arrives in Nigeria. Nigeria commends the armed forces for supporting the restoration of constitutional order in the Republic of Benin. Imo State government shuts down a mortuary and a hotel over alleged organ harvesting activities. Katsina residents protest 6-month power outage disrupting social and economic activities. The news continues in a moment. Please stay right here. Back now the rest of the stories. Security has stabilized in the Republic of Benin after a brief but tense coup attempt was crushed by forces loyal to President Patrice Talon. Members of the self-styled military committee of Refoundation had earlier appeared on state television announcing the dissolution of government. Authorities confirmed that gunfire was recorded near the presidential residence in Cotonou before loyal troops regained control. The presidency later assured citizens that President Talon was safe and that national broadcast services earlier disrupted had been fully restored. Government officials disclosed that at least 14 suspects have been arrested in connection with the plots, which came just over a year before President Talon is expected to leave office in April 2026. The Interior Ministry emphasized that the regular army remained united behind the elected government. ECOWAS condemned the attempted takeover and announced that a standby force had been placed on alert to support constitutional order. The swift response prevented Benin from joining West African neighbors currently under military rule. Indonesia is battling a rising humanitarian emergency as cyclone-triggered floods and landslides kill at least 940 people across 3 provinces in Sumatra, with 276 persons still missing. Community face mounting health risk as outbreaks of diarrhea and fever spread. Ektamin remains the worst hit, with its only regional hospital nearly immobilized. Medical equipment is covered in mud, essential drugs were washed away, and critical units such as the ICU were severely damaged. Health workers said the loss of supplies has hindered care for vulnerable patients. Authorities report major infrastructural devastation, including collapsed bridges that have cut off medical teams from several communities. Emergency rooms in the hardest hit areas are not expected to resume full operations until Monday. President Braobo Subianto visited X on Sunday and directed the immediate repair of damaged infrastructure. He also ordered the cancellation of state-backed microloans for affected farmers as local leaders push for a national emergency declaration to fast-track funding. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the second phase of the United States-backed plan to end the Gaza conflict is nearing implementation. He, however, stressed that unresolved issues, including the proposal for a multinational security force, are still under discussion. Speaking at a joint briefing with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Netanyahu confirmed he will meet U.S. President Donald Trump later this month for crucial talks. The meeting will focus on reconstruction, security arrangements, and enforcement of commitments made in the ceasefire agreements. Chancellor Merz urged faster progress, insisting that Phase 2 must begin now. To prevent further humanitarian strain, Germany has also indicated readiness to support reconstruction efforts once Washington finalizes the roadmap. Netanyahu reiterated that Hamas must comply fully with demilitarization terms and respect the ceasefire. They added that the status of the West Bank, including possible annexation, remains under bilateral negotiation as part of broader regional normalization talks. Tension has escalated along the Thailand-Cambodia border following Thai airstrikes launched. The Thai military said the action followed violations of a U.S. brokered ceasefire and confirmed one soldier killed with 4 others injured after Cambodian fire. Cambodia's defense ministry confirmed the locations hit at dawn, but stated that each troop did not retaliate. Thai officials accused Cambodian forces of firing rockets towards civilian settlements, an allegation Phnom Penh has denied. Relations deteriorated sharply after Thailand suspended implementation of the ceasefire last month when one of its soldiers was maimed by a landmine. The renewed confrontation has revived a long-running territorial dispute between the two neighbors. The clashes have forced the evacuation of more than 385,000 residents across 4 Thai border districts. Thousands are now in temporary shelters as both sides come under international pressure to halt hostilities. Hong Kong recorded a turnout of 31.9% in Sunday's Legislative Council election, one of the lowest in the city's history. Although marginally higher than 221 figure, the total number of votes cast was lower due to reduced public participation. Only candidates vetted as patriots were allowed to run, with just 20 of the 90 seats open to direct election. The restrictive framework has drawn criticism from residents who say it limits genuine political competition. Public frustration was heightened by the city's deadliest fire in nearly 8 decades, which claimed at least 159 lives in the Thai Po. Many voters stayed away from polling stations in protest over building safety failures and electoral reforms that sidelined opposition voices. Authorities maintained tight security and cleared a memorial site near the destroyed buildings. City leader John Lee pledged to work with the new legislature on institutional reforms, while Benji's National Security Office warned against using the disaster to provoke dissent. Abia State has begun the construction of a 7.5 MVA 33/11 kV injection substation in Umuahia under the National Integrated Power Projects. Governor Alex Otti described the project as a major step towards modernizing the state's electricity infrastructure. The facility is expected to boost power supply immediately upon completion. Governor Otti said federal reforms in the electricity market have created new opportunities for states to invest directly in distribution infrastructure. The governor also announced that a second 7.5 MVA substation has been budgeted for 2026 as part of efforts to expand capacity. The 2 substations combined will provide 15 MVA to the Ogurube layout axis. NDPHC's managing director, represented at the ceremony, reaffirmed the agency's commitment to strengthening power supply nationwide. Stakeholders say the project will enhance industrial growth and improve residents' quality of life. Nigeria's Yellow Greens recorded their 4th straight victory at the West African Trophy with a 9-wicket win over Sierra Leone at the NCF Oval. The team's performance reinforces Nigeria's position as tournament favorites. Sierra Leone was bowled out for 95 runs in the 18.5 overs, with John Bangura top scoring at 37. Nigeria's bowling attack, led by Prosper Hussaini, Isaac Ope and Ishaku Okasha, kept the pressure throughout. Nigeria's chase was swift despite losing an early wicket. The Bundant's Ramon Ali led the effort with an unbeaten 64 off 36 balls, while Captain Suleiman Ronsewe added 21 not out. The team reached the target in 11.2 overs and remains firmly on track for an early place in the finals. Ramon Ali was named player of the match. And to entertainment stories now. A video featuring Nollywood actress Mercy Johnson Okoje and Jennifer Awale, widow of late actor Junior Pope, has attracted widespread attention online. The 2 women were seen posing together in a pose that celebrated their close bonds. The video drew praise from fans who admired their composure and supportive friendship. Many commentators express continued sympathy for Jennifer as she adjusts to life after her husband's passing. Jennifer Awele has maintained strong ties with Nollywood colleagues since the tragedy on the Anam River last year. Prominent actresses, including Destiny Etiko, Regina Daniels, and Rita Edochie, have consistently shown solidarity with her. Observers note that the growing public support reflects the entertainment industry's commitment to standing by bereaved families and promoting unity among artists. And still on entertainment news, former Big Brother Naija housemate Queen Mercy Atang has addressed ongoing rumors surrounding her lifestyle and recently ended marriage. She stated on social media that critics have misrepresented her actions since her time on the reality show. Queen dismissed claims that she posted her husband to provoke her child's father, insisting she was simply an excited bride. She also questioned why such narratives persisted despite her not previously posting him publicly. She defended her TikTok activities, saying dancing and twerking are expressions of joy and should not be used to judge her suitability as a wife. Queen also clarified that her Nollywood roles have been limited and never involved overly intimate scenes. The reality star confirmed she is now single following the end of her marriage to David Oyakimi. She emphasized that she intends to move forward positively and focus on her personal growth. And finally, before we go, a recap of news around the globe. Nigeria's military has assisted the government of the Republic of Benin to swiftly foil an attempted coup led by a dissident officer. The intervention undertaken at the request of the Beninese authorities helped restore calm and constitutional order. President Bola Tinubu praised the prompt response, noting that the action reflects Nigeria's commitment to the ECOWAS protocol on democracy and good governance. The federal government has commenced compensation for communities impacted by the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. So far, 1 billion naira has been paid to affected residents in Cross River states for farmlands and structures along the corridor. The 750-kilometer coastal highway is expected to accelerate regional development and will incorporate modern safety features such as solar-powered lighting and CCTV coverage. In Imo State, a hotel and a privately operated mortuary have been sealed by authorities following discoveries that raise serious public health and security concerns. Investigations are ongoing and the operator of the facilities, Stanley Morocco Parugo, has been declared wanted as security agencies intensify efforts to unravel suspected criminal activities linked to the premises. On the international scene, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump later this month for high-level discussions on the next phase of the Gaza peace plan. Netanyahu says key issues, including proposed security arrangements and disarmament measures, remain on the table. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has also called for an expedited transmission into phase 2 of the plan. And that's news around the globe. For more updates, join us on our social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. My name is Nancy Marianne. Thanks for watching and good morning.
The safety of the girl child remains a pressing concern in Enugu as incidents of sexual abuse continue to make headlines. Parents, communities and authorities are being urged to step up efforts to protect young girls and ensure they grow up in a safe environment. Today, we are on the streets of Enugu to hear what the residents think about safeguarding the girl child.
One measure you can do is good parenting, because if the parents are able to inculcate or try to make sure the girl child knows her limits when it comes to the opposite sex, she will be able to also protect herself. Then I also think that it has to do with the environment as well. The people she associate with, the people she allowed to teach her what she's supposed to know as a girl. For instance, if you are the type that always go out with the wrong people, you always become wrong. You understand? So the girl child is a real problem that should be considered by their parents and also by whoever the parent allowed to associate with. For instance, most of them at the age of 13, you see them roaming the streets, going here, going there, and before you know it, a girl that was once good becomes bad out of bad associations and all that. So for me, for a girl child to be able to get protection, she must be able to know that she has a future and she must set her goal. And she will not allow anyone to talk her out of her purpose, what she wants to become. By so doing, she'll be able to end up well. Then protecting the girl child, it has to do with also the government looking into that. I think gender affairs, they are the one also in charge of that aspect. So they are able to do a lot, you understand? So for me as a person, the reason why I stood out here to talk about this is because I've seen a lot happening to a girl child and I hate that with passion.
Parents will make time for their children, ask them questions. If there's anything they have to say, give them a listening ear. And if there is any problem they have to tell you, give them a listening ear to actually and if they tell you, don't neglect it, actually tackle it immediately. And also the government too should also give justice to those who have been abused, so that, and also to bring the corporates to book. And parents mostly, they should put eye on their children and also ask them questions, check their devices, because the smartphones we use these days are very corruptive. So check their devices to make sure that they're still on point, and yeah, also know the kind of people you leave your children with.
There are so many measures to take to protect girl child. The most important one is to educate them, because most times parents feel shy talking to their female children about sex, about their body. So the best thing is to educate them, tell them about their private part, tell them when someone touches them unnecessarily, they should report, all those things. Also, even if it's their dad, anybody, because now these days it's not easy. Girl childs are not safe right now, because they're even at the risk, even where they're supposed to be safe with their guardian, with their parents, they're even at risk. So the most important thing is that schools should take measures to educate girl childs, because most times female children that are abused don't even know that they are abused, because they don't know anything about it. So I think that's the best thing, educating them about it.
When you want to protect a girl child from being raped, you need to be friendly, you need to be lovely, you need to be a counselor, you need to be disciplined. But there are many ways to discipline any girl child especially. You know, there's a difference between male and female. The way you handle a male is not the way you handle a female. Most times, the way people used to say that now, Izunwanye sirike ngwongwo na ngwongwo juru ayaro. So, and we always need, like to Oliver Twist, I need some more. So they will always like to buy ice cream, buy suya, do this. Most of the parents take their children out, and you don't take your children out from January to December. So they need all those things. So when you don't do it, you still shun them off. So what are you doing as a parent? So I believe you need to bring them home. Give them listening ear. Whatever thing they learn outside there in school, in exam hall, out there, wherever they go, you need to hear from them. And when you hear from them, bring them down, call them to order, tell them the truth about the whole thing.
As voices from the streets make it clear, protecting the girl child requires vigilance, education, and community efforts. From Enugu, I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, Reporting for Aneke TV. Yeah, good morning, 040, and season greetings to everyone watching. You're tuned into Sunrise on Aneke TV, where every sunrise begins with delightfulness, cheer, and joy. And of course, that special sunrise vibe to help you start your day. And coming to you live from our studio here in Vibrant Enugu, I am Deborah Wakuba.
Deborah, you're looking good this morning.
Yes.
You rested well over the weekend, right?
I'm not ready. But
Not really.
Happy New Week.
But thank God it's Monday too. It's
No,
not really thank God
not,
it's Friday.
not thank God. I don't agree with that one.
And
Yes.
good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, thank you for letting us into your space this beautiful morning. As always, we're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, it's Monday, 8th December 2025, and of course, it's another new week and another edition of Sunrise on Aneke TV. So, of course, we've got you a power packed morning today. Well, we have our latest news, our trending stories, and of course, that special sunrise back to help us on our day.
So, relax, grab that cup of coffee or tea, enjoy the ride because the sunrise is here.
Yes, and coming up shortly in Sunrise, we'll be starting things off with our quote of the day with words that are thoughtful, words that are inspiring, and words that offer insight to whatever we do to keep us focused, well-driven, and feel motivated.
Then, it's straight into the newspaper headlines. All the key updates you need to remain informed will be served hot and tasty.
Yes, and after that, we'll be giving you a full weather forecast covering major cities across the southeast and beyond, so you'd know what to expect before you step out, or if you've stepped out already, is to help you to get throughout the rest of the day.
And later, we'll wrap things up with some four global updates to keep you smiling, to keep you informed, and then level up the rest of your day.
Yes, all right. Now we'll be moving over to our morning show inspiration segment. So let's kick off this bright new day with a dose of wisdom coming from Abraham Lincoln, a quote that reminds us about all that tell us what truly matters in our lives. And that quote is saying, in the end, it's not the years in your life that counts, it's the life in your years. I'm going to take that quote again, coming from Abraham Lincoln, that says, in the end, it's not the years in your life that counts, it's the life in your years. Now, this quote, Lincoln is telling us that living long isn't the real achievement, but living fully is the achievement and is what we should all strive for or look towards to. And he's also saying it's not about counting birthdays or the moments, it's not about counting birthdays, that it's about counting the moments that you made, the way you did your growth, your laughter, and everything. Not about just saying I'm plus one today. It's simply just saying we should live life to its fullest, and not that we're just trying to get by each day, but instead let us have let us always have memories. Let's build memories about ourselves, and as we also get throughout the rest of the day, like I'm going to repeat that quote again, that says, in the end, it's not the years in your life that counts, it's the life in your years. Now, this is just simply telling us to live our lives to its fullest and not just living your life just like that. And Mr. Richard, I'd like to know your thoughts on this quote.
All right. This quote by Abraham Lincoln that says, "In the end, it's not the years in your life that count; it's the life in your years."
Yeah.
You know, that's those words. So, though very simple, is laced with a lot of intricate meaning and wisdom. You know, some hidden truths. It's telling someone that is not the number of years, you know, that you've lived that counts, but what is that life worth that matters?
Yeah.
What do you do with the life you have? That's what counts. You've spent 80 years. You spent 50 years.
Yeah.
You spent 110 years on earth. Is not what counts. What Abraham Lincoln is telling us this morning is what is the impact of that life? Have you impacted the people around you?
Yeah.
Have you impacted your environment? What legacy are you leaving behind?
That's true.
You know, when we talk about legacy, a lot of people think that legacy just has to do with the most successful people on earth. No. Legacy has to do with being you wherever you are. The little corner of your world, the little corner of the earth where you find yourself. What is the impact? Let's go to your neighborhood. When you leave your neighborhood, what do people talk about you? Are you so influential that perhaps when the compound you live in is dead, people will say, is dirty. People will say, had it been that Mr. So and so is around,
yeah,
that this compound would have been
yeah.
neater than this.
Yeah, I
You know, there are
understand.
people that are talked about like that. That's impact. You see that such a person makes impact.
Yeah.
Are you in a school? And students will remember that if is when this teacher is around, we won't have time to loaf about. Right? That if this teacher is around, he will be discipline us to be diligent with our studies.
Yeah.
That he will be in class teaching while some other teachers are gossiping. So it's about impact.
Yeah.
In your workplace, are you an utility staff that when things come up, people will say, had it been that Deborah is around, these things will not go south. It doesn't have to be the number of years in your life, but the impact in that life that counts.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you leave behind in the life of those after you? And when you become successful, are you able to raise more successful people like you? What's the impact? That's what Abraham Lincoln is talking about this morning by telling us that it is the life in your years that counts. You know, living through and fulfilling every day of that life.
Yeah.
If you become successful, if you've made it, have you set up other people to toe your line? These are the legacies you leave behind. You know, I keep going to the marketplace. I know I love the market a lot.
Yeah.
And because my brothers are entrepreneurs, the Igbos, wherever we are known for business.
Okay.
And then you become so accustomed to being successful in business, such that you've not mentored anybody. And we've been in this business, people cannot talk about getting a cup without mentioning your name. When they talk about a table, they mention your name. When they talk about a size book, your name is mentioned. When it comes to getting a mobile device, is your name. You come to automobile, is your name that is mentioned. But at the end of the day, how many people have you mentored?
Yeah.
How many people were you able to bring up? The people that served you, do they serve you successfully? And do you settle them well to get established and replicate the success you've achieved? That's the
true.
impact that Abraham Lincoln is talking to us this morning about. It's about living a life that is filled with achievement as well. What is the achievement? Not when we talk about achievement, it's not just about wealth. It's not about acquiring all the certificates. No, it's not about being Mr. So and so. When we talk about achievement, is what will you be remembered for? What will people talk about you? Do they remember you for that human being that when you are available, you will light up the spirit of everyone around you?
Yeah,
that people
exactly.
around you are happy, or are you a demoralizing effect? Are you known for negativity? And if you're known for negativity, even if you like live 110 years, people will want to avoid you. People wouldn't want to get associated with you. For instance, in this country, there was a time, you know, the news broke, the news filtered in, that a certain high-level government personnel died. And you see people on the streets celebrating. What does that tell you? That this person, even if this person has lived that long, but the fellow has lived a life that has no life in the years. It was years without a life. You were just a passerby, leaving no impact, making no impact, leaving no footprints in the sand of time. So Abraham Lincoln, Deborah, is quite apt this morning by letting us realize the essence of living, that we're not just passers-by. When we live, we should live life to its fullest, like he just said. And living life to its fullest is living a life that is full of impact, a life that leaves good memories behind, leaving your footprints in the sand of time. That when men talk about you, when they remember about you, they say, yeah, there was a man like this at so time. If so person was around, if he were to be here, this wouldn't have happened. And this is what Abraham Lincoln is telling us, is about impact. So those of us in government, what do you do as a minister? What do you do as a commissioner? What do you do as an advisor? Let the life in the years in that life, make it count.
Yeah.
The number of days you've served as a minister, as an advisor, as a commissioner, make it count. That the state, the nation where you are will say, when so and so person was minister, Often you hear people, for example, in southeastern Nigeria, when they talk about, development, they cite Okpara. They will tell you that the road built by Okpara, that he developed palm plantations, that he did this and that. People still go back. And we who are students of history are forced to go back and study about M.I. Okpara. We'll study about their impact. We'll hear about, okay, look at the Akanibiam, international airport in Enugu. You are forced to go and study who is Akanibiam. Because these are men who has left their footprints in the sand of time. Yeah. They made the years in their life count.
All right, thank you very much for that. Well, also, like you rightfully said, you might have 80 years, you might have lived for 80 years without experiencing life, or you might have lived for just 30 years and you've experienced joy, you've experienced purpose, you've gone through ups and downs. Now, what Abraham Lincoln's quote is saying is that it's about quality and not quantity. So he's trying to urge us today that we should live our life with full experience, and then we should live our life to the fullest. And also, like Mr. Oche rightly fully pointed out, that it's not about the riches you've gained, the wealth, everything you've got, but what is that thing you're known for? Like, what is that? Okay, let's say, what is that special moment in your life that you cannot forget? You see people saying, what is the craziest thing you've done? What is your worst moment or anything? Now, these are what people have lived. Now, it's about quality, actually, not quantity. So let us try today to live our life to the fullest, and let us try today also to impact other people around us, because that is also what matters the most. And also, as we're going about this morning, as we're getting ready to take on the day today, let us also keep these things in mind, that we should try and make our day today count. We should also do something meaningful, and then we should fill our hours with energy, kindness, and also intention, and that is trying to make somebody, or trying to be impactful, or be an inspiration to somebody, so that at least this is what they will know you for, wherever you find yourself or wherever you go. And also, please just keep it in mind that it's magic. It's a magic moment. It's a magic. It can come in any way that's making your life worth it, and then at least having the experience, because it's about experience. And then you find out, okay, you have the experience, now you have a lot to say, you have a lot to gist about with friends, you have maybe you travel from here to there. Now let's just make our life beautiful, okay? Because there's this saying that life is too short, why don't you enjoy it? So let us enjoy the moment. Let us do whatever it takes to make our day matter, or our life matters. And also, please, while you're doing that, do not forget that each new sunrise is an opportunity for us to grow. It's a platform where we learn something new and try something different every day. And also, let us know what this quote means to you. You can drop your thoughts on our handles on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, YouTube, all at Aneke TV, or you can even call our phone number 070-3043-7110. We'll be right back after the break.
to 34, 36 degrees Celsius, a warm one. Clear skies later tonight, settling around mid-20s.
And also in Abakaliki, it starts with grey and cloudy in the early hours. Sun pops out by late morning and by midday to afternoon it gets toasty. Expect 33 to 35 degrees Celsius under the sunshine. Evening brings cooler temperatures and skies turn mostly cloudy.
Good morning, Imo State, and over to Owerri. The early morning begins with hazy sunshines and about 22 degrees Celsius at a gentle start. Through the day, patchy sun and warm weather reaching 33 to 34 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. Nighttime will be mostly clear to partly cloudy, cooling to low to mid-20 degrees Celsius.
And lastly in Umahia, it starts about clouds to begin the morning with a cool 22 degrees Celsius. Later on, sunshine and heat build up. Midday to afternoon might hit 33 to 34 degrees Celsius. Tonight, mostly sunny, turning to partly cloudy. Expect temperatures cooling to around 24 to 25 degrees Celsius.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, dress light, be cool. Then do remember that rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather updates on Sunrise on Aneke TV. We'll go on a short break. I'll be back with more updates.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV, and let's take a look at our major newspaper today, starting from The Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and The Guardian newspaper. Now on The Nation headline, it says Ribadu in talks with US team. And on the Punch headline, it says security crisis, Tinubu Macron hold talks as US fact finders arrive. And on the Vanguard headline, it says how Benin Republic coup failed FG. And then, lastly, on the Guardian headline said relief in Cotonou as NAF joint force rebel coup. Now we're taking the other headlines in the newspaper, starting from The Nation. And The Nation headline reads, at the top left says, day of rescue, 100 Niger pupils out of hostage, 14 victims freed from Enugu forest, 7 taken out from Kaduna forest. And also by the top right says, Nigeria sends fighter jets, ground forces as troops for a coup in Benin Republic. And also below it says, Dr. Jimo Ibrahim, CFR, Nigeria's ambassador nominee by Mr. President. And now moving over to the Punch headlines, it says, Abiodun Adeboye associate honor Adedoyin at 90th birthday Thanksgiving. And then also in the Punch headline says, PDP crisis, Wike bloc plans state Congress's national convention. And then again says, Nigeria's World Bank debt to hit $9.65 billion. And also below the Punch paper says, Biharam fight lasting longer than civil war is troubling Obasanjo. Okay, I'll take that again. Boko Haram fight lasting longer than civil war is troubling Obasanjo. Anambra prison inmate wins international whistleblower award. Bengas and Dangote rift widened over salary suspension. And now moving over to the Vanguard. Amid blackouts, NEC experts clash as Disco's revenue rises to 1.7 trillion naira. And also by the top right says UBA Group dominates 2025 Banker Awards, emerges Africa's Bank of the Year. And also below the Vanguard headlines reads, FG secures release of 100 school children abducted in Niger State. Serap to INEC explain missing 55.9 billion naira voted for 2023 poll materials. And below says,
Police storm kidnappers camp in Abuja, rescue 7 victims. And moving over to the Guardian paper. At the top right says, federal government secures release of 100 abducted Niger school children. PEBCEC exposes poorly performing MDH due to service failures. Tendency hit 81% as Nigerians consume 1.23 million TB of data amid high cost. And also by the middle right says, shipping lines decry $4.6 million stowaway repatriation yearly fine in Nigeria. And also, Benue farmers lament decry crashing food prices. Then below the Guardian headline says, concerns over fiscal governance as 2026 budget misses timeline. And there's also a story that reads, install Prince Olojo Kosoko as Oloja of Lagos. Royal family appeals to Sanwo-Olu. PDP faction moves convention host meeting in Wike's residence. And that is all for your paper today. And now we move starting our newspaper review with the Nation headline that says Ribadu in talks with US team. Nigeria's national security Nuhu Ribadu advisor welcomed a high-power delegation from the US Congress on a fact-finding mission, and the purpose is to deepen cooperation on counter-terrorism, regional stability, and broader security coordination between Nigeria and the United States. So Ribadu expressed optimism that the talks will strengthen trust, enhance intelligence sharing, and pave the way for a more robust joint security partnership. Mr. Ocha, I'd like to know your take on this.
Correct. The headline is quite apt. It's talking about the Nation newspaper.
Yeah.
Where, as it stands, the Nation, if the director will be kind enough, please still give us that headline, that newspaper headline from the Nation newspaper. Yes. You know, the talks with the United States, where we're seeing the Nation newspaper, Ribadu in talks with the US team. Yes, you remember that as of last month, November, Nigeria has been designated by the government of the United States as a country of particular concern. Yeah. You understand? And given the tension that statement brought about in Nigeria, giving a lot of pressure to our government. Yeah. Because if you remember correctly, the President Donald Trump had said that he is most likely to put boots on ground, threatening that there is Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, and they will not keep quiet. They will do everything within their power to put a stop to that. And then, when he talked about putting boots on ground, that, they polarized the nation. A lot of people were against the notion of the United States government putting boots on ground in Nigeria, as they saw that as an invasion of our territorial integrity, that Nigeria is a sovereign nation. As such, no nation in the world, despite the status of that nation, should attack or invade Nigeria, And at the other end of the spectrum, a group who are of the view that given the myriads of insecurity in Nigeria, that yes, we deserve the needed help from the United States government to intervene and see to it that the situation is brought to the barest minimum. And when we speak about insecurity in Nigeria, do not forget the intricate nature of the Nigerian society, where, for example, you come to a state, you do not just have in families, you have Christians and Muslims in various families. We intermarry, we are so united in communities that it's difficult to, at times, segregate the Christians from the Muslims. And that does not take away that we have areas that are predominantly Christians, and in support of the argument that it's not just Christians that are being killed in Nigeria, that Muslims are equally killed in Nigeria. In fact, we've gone higher to argue that the bandits' barrels, their ammunition, their guns and their bomb, when it goes off, doesn't distinguish between Christians and Muslims. And as such, we've categorized this, and in most cases, as farmer headers clashes, and where we have terrorism, insurgency, and all that. We do not dismiss the fact that there are security challenges in Nigeria. There is, in fact, terrorism is going on. There is banditry, and there is, about Boko Haram, about Aswap and Lakroma, and the rest of them that are nameless. there's a lot of security challenges in Nigeria, but the attempt to categorize it or Christianize it a Christian genocide is what the government had fought vehemently, leading to the international engagement on this issue. You remember that a few nights ago that the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, led a delegation from Nigeria to interface with the United States counterparts. Yeah. And as a result of that, we are seeing in the Nation newspaper, we are seeing that the counterpart, that the U.S. counterpart has come on a fact-finding mission in Nigeria, and is not out of place that they are having a discussion with the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu himself, and in an attempt, with what they call fight-finding mission, to really ascertain the nature of things on ground. Where Nigeria has maintained, yes, there are issues of insecurity, but these attacks are not really targeted just at Christians. Christians have been victims. Yes, there are pictorial, there are video evidences of where Christians are attacked in worship centers, but who've come out to say that, yes, Christians are being attacked, but it's not just an isolated cases where Christians are, singled out. Yeah. Yes, even given the issue in Yelwata, for example, where we saw that, yes, Yelwata could be said to be predominantly Christian area. Yes, there were attacks which the government has classified as issues emanating from herders farmers crisis. But the United States government, in its wisdom, and the Congress has decided to come into Nigeria on a fact-finding mission to see things for themselves, to interact firsthand with victims of these security challenges in Nigeria, so that they do not base their decision at the whims of some lobbyists in the United States who would want to go against anything the Nigerian state stands for, and in favor of the Nigerian state, who have also solidly argued, yes, there are insecurity in Nigeria. We do not say we don't need help. We do need help. But, criticizing it or targeting it as a Christian genocide, is placing it out of context and taking away this intricate nature and complex nature of the Nigerian society. Now, we've seen this delegation led by some United States congressmen talk about Rep. Mario. You see there's Rep. Norman Torres, and you see there is another rep member who is equally Cisco Mani, were part of the delegation, and with the United States ambassador to Nigeria. These are the delegation, and they are interacting with the National Security Advisor to find out, like I did mention, the real issues on ground, knowing that the invasion of Nigeria, if they do not understand the real issues on ground, may not solve the problem. Rather, may create a more complex situation where Nigeria will be thrown into turmoil, and kudos to the United States for being thorough, in sending a firefighting mission. And we were told that they've gone to Yelwata, Remember the attack in Yelwata, where our president was forced to visit Benue State for this matter. But they've gone to Yelwata to get first-hand information on what has transpired. And I do not, miss words when I say that they may go as far as, Kaduna, Zamfara, and the rest of them, in order to get first-hand account of what is going on. And this is really, really, I would say kudos to the National Security Advisor and the government counterpart, the Nigerian counterpart, who've shown capacity in being able to move the discussion from that of aggression, rather a diplomatic maneuver where we are now engaging. Do remember that during the heat of this whole argument, we advise that it is better to jaw than to war. Yeah. That when America puts boots on ground, it may not solve the issue. If they deploy bombs, it may not solve the issue.
Make it
more difficult to solve this issue. And continuing to argue about Christian killings or Muslim killings will continue to polarize the Nigerian society, and will cause a more dangerous situation for Nigeria, make people become more aware of a situation that the Nigerian state has been trying to solve over the years, talking about the religious divide as we have in Nigeria. While we lay emphasis on Christian and Muslim genocide or killings in Nigeria, you will not forget the fact that there are still non-Christians, non-Muslims in Nigeria, and they have good population in Nigeria as well. That takes me to the ruling in Akwa Ibom the other day, where a masquerade was arrested and paraded to court, right? And the court has fairly come to rule that the government of Akwa Ibom overreached its powers by arresting the masquerade and gave judgment in favor of the masquerade. Yes, the masquerade, though by name, has the right of religious worship, the freedom to worship. So why am I saying this? Why will make more emphasis about the Christian, Muslim being killed and all that? Let us not take away the fact that there are still other beliefs in Nigeria that are equally free, that may be affected by the security challenges that Nigeria is witnessing. Having said that, I am excited that, yes, we're discussing with the government of the United States, and they are, with this discussion, they will see ways to assist Nigeria, and I believe that this diplomatic move, this diplomatic channel, will foster the alliance with America, and we'll see ways they will assist us beyond. You remember in the past, they gave us Tucano jets, for which we've been using to combat these terrorists. I am optimistic that coming out from this fact-finding mission, we will see more resolve, we will see more, alliance between Nigeria and the United States, and who can be able to lead an onslaught against these insurgents, against the bandits, wherever they are. Do not forget, I keep mentioning it, that the American government has an AFRICOM situated in Ghana, close by here, that is able to mark and pinpoint the movement of these terrorists. They are able to, with that, they will be able to drop into their conversation, get their movements, get what they are planning, and with that, we can carry out a kinetic, precision approach by either through the air or the land, and then get snuff the life out of these bandits who have disturbed the flow of the Nigerian state, and by no means even are impacting the economy. You see the price of commodities in markets in Nigeria today, because farmers in some places can no longer access their farmland. Where some are able to access their farmlands, they are forced to pay tributaries and royalties to the bandits. And this does not go well in a state like Nigeria. What I admire about this government is that, yes, they've owned up, because the security challenges we are facing did not start from the Tinubu-led administration. It's been there even before the coming of the Muhammadu Buhari administration. But they've come up openly to, to say out that they need the required help, by engaging diplomatically. And that, to me, is a very good one. And if we collaborate with our partners, you will see that these security challenges may become a thing of the past, and we do not separate the fact that, yes, when we talk about security situation, Nigeria is not an isolated case. Everywhere in the world, they face one form of challenge or the other. There is security challenges across the world. Remember that Ukraine is at war with Russia, and there are instances like this that are leading to it. Nigeria, what we're asking for is that this situation be brought to a barest minimum, and this government, I would commend them for showing the right initiative, for being able to change the narrative, from that of, putting boots on ground, coming to take over, as many have seen it. But now we have taken a diplomatic approach that will yield more results. And more encouraging is the fact that the U.S. ambassador is part of this. Richard Mills is part of this conversation that is on ground, and I know that he's been a champion, of being able to see things from the Nigerian perspective. That is not just Christians that are being killed in Nigeria. Yes, people are being killed, and what should concern every friend of Nigeria and every Nigerian is that life is sacrosanct, irrespective of religious affiliation. One thing, one thing to another, one pain to another should be a pain to every Nigerian. And until we're able to come together, like I always say, Nigeria can only be built by Nigerians, irrespective of our alliance, our affiliations, and all that. Let us realize that Nigeria can be built by Nigerians. Therefore, insecurity, insurgents, terrorism can only be defeated through a united front.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. I was now going over to our Punch newspaper that says security crisis. Tinubu Macron who talks as US fact finders arrive. In other developments, Bola Tinubu, Nigeria's president, has held talks with Emmanuel Macron of France, even as the US congressional fact-finding team lands in Nigeria for security discussions. The discussions are part of efforts to respond to Nigeria's ongoing security crisis, with emphasis on protecting vulnerable populations such as schools, farms and places of worship and strengthening local early warning systems. Macron has reaffirmed France's support for Nigeria in combating insecurity, while the arrival of the US fact-finders underscores growing international focus on Nigeria's internal security situation. And this is coming from the Punch paper that says security crisis, Tinubu, Macron hold talks as US fact-finders arrives.
All right. Looking at the headline on this newspaper, you understand, you see that just like we were talking about, the U.S. mission was come on a fact-finding mission or effort into Nigeria, that the president has now realized that he has continued to engage all our allies, begin to rally support around the country wherever we may find that. And you remember that since the coming of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu into government, he has always tilted towards this alliance with France. So it's not surprising to see that he is engaging with Macron in this instance, and they are talking, and I believe that this will lead to positive results. Yes, when we talk about allies, this is a period where we need our allies on board. Like we did say, it's not just about talk. It should about being able to put words into action and be able to, rally around and see that Nigeria solves the crisis on ground. If there's no peace in Nigeria, I will tell you the larger part of West Africa will continue to witness serious crisis. I bet economic depreciation around the West African community, because Nigeria, the largest black nation on earth, equally lazy economically, even though when we argue that this giant is no longer gianting and is comatose or asleep.
Okay.
But whatever happens in Nigeria has a way of impacting West Africa and beyond.
Yeah.
So it's quite important that all our allies' efforts are rallied around, and that's what our president is doing. And you would remember that while he was still engaging with the United States government, like we've commended, has not just stopped on that. That led to the conversation we're hearing between that he is holding conversation with Emmanuel Macron, who has come out to say that their phone conversation is yielding results and is a step in the right direction. When we listen to President Macron, who has affirmed that France will strengthen its partnership with Nigerian authorities, thereby leading effort to see that France, helps in solidifying the security situation in Nigeria, particularly finding a way to erase the threats that we see in northern parts of Nigeria. And for me, this is quite commendable of Mr. President. Yes, there are a lot of people who do not, who have argued against Nigeria, being able to pander to the West. But I tell you that the security situation in Nigeria is very complex, and we need all hands on deck. Every of our allies, every nation that has benefited or benefits in one way or the other from Nigeria. And like I did say, it's quite even more important that the European nations should be concerned as Americans are concerned as well. Because I tell you that if Nigeria is destabilized, you will not have stability in West African region. It will go a long way in imparting stability around West Africa region, if I'm to state the least. So for me, seeing this conversation moving this way is a step in the right direction, and let them equally, whichever way they would assist in contributing in machinery, even in resources, in terms of aid and all that. Nigeria needs it, because remember that a lot of Nigerians are still in the IDP camp. So whatever aid that we give to assist these ones live comfortably, even our soldiers in the battlefront, they keep talking about armament, needing the right weapon to be able to confront these dangers. And for me, a unified collective front will be able to decimate this terrorist situation and see to it that they are defeated once and for all. The French government equally has experience in fighting this kind of warfare. When you talk about combating guerrilla warfare, as we are seeing in Nigeria, because when you engage from the theater front, you see that this is a guerrilla warfare. And like the governor of Zamfara State did say, he said these people are in the market with us. They eat and dine with us. So they can't be able to differentiate that this is a Boko Haram member and this is a Nigerian when they mingle, right? So it becomes a guerrilla warfare when some of them don't wear any uniform. This is a ragtag army that has sophisticated weapon, sophisticated financing. And talking about financing, this is where equally is quite pertinent that we engage all our allies, either France, even China, inclusive, right? Not just the government of the United States. First of all, by engaging them, let's deploy the technology to be able to cut off the financial resource of these terrorists and bandits. That way, we'll be able to hem them in a spot and be able to contain them and then lead a final onslaught to decimate them finally from being able to regroup and relaunch attack like we've witnessed in the past months, coming into these new months, where we've seen heightened cases of insecurity, kidnapping of school children and all that. So the engagement from Mr. President is a step in the right direction and should be welcomed. And this is where I continue to celebrate Mr. President, whom a lot of people, always praise for his political sagacity. But he is showing leadership, especially on the diplomatic front, being able to engage our foreign allies, and is a welcome development. And I hope that they continue to engage more of our allies, more foreign governments, and most especially, I keep advocating, in as much as we are holding conversation with France, US, and the likes, we should equally engage the Sahel states as well. Yeah. If we're able to have a unified front from these axis, you will see that the inflow through the Sahel, through Sahara Desert, will be cut off, leading to our fortifying our borders as well. Yeah. That will help us, going a long way in combating this situation at hand. Yeah. But I have no doubt that the president is moving in the right direction, and with these efforts, that we will be able to contain these insurgents. But that does not mean that we should not allow the fear that whatever agreement we go into in trying to bring everybody together to combat the situation that we are witnessing, that we should be very careful in the nature of agreements that we enter into with these foreign powers as well. So at the end of the day, it doesn't come back to hurt us as a people. Yeah. But like I always say, kudos to Mr. President on these diplomatic fronts.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now moving over to our next paper, coming from the Vanguard headline that says, How Benin Republic Coup Failed, says FG. Turning to West Africa, the government of Benin Republic has confirmed that a coup attempt launched at dawn yesterday has been thwarted with thanks to the swift intervention of regional partners, including Nigeria. Patrice Talon, Benin's president, commended loyalist force for rapidly regaining control of key state institutions after mountaineers briefly seized the national TV station and attempted to dissolve the government. Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS and the African Union AU have condemned the attempted coup, reaffirming their support for constitutional order and democratic governance across the region. Mr. Archer, I'd like to know your take on this.
All right. When the news filtered in yesterday about this coup, for one, I was somehow overwhelmed, and I started asking myself the question: what is happening in Africa, and especially West Africa? Are we, retrogressing, or are we making progress? What is actually happening? Being that the other day we were just reading about a coup attempt in Guinea-Bissau, for instance, where they were undergoing democratic processes years to, re-elect either the team president. Just there was a democratic process in place, and amidst where everybody was waiting for the result of that election, we now heard about a coup, taking over, sacking all democratic institutions in Guinea-Bissau, and just less than a fortnight, and here we are. Here we are in the headlines, just our neighbors here, Benin Republic. We're hearing about an attempted coup. Unfortunately, the coup plotters did not succeed this time around with being able to overrun the government. Kudos to the Nigerian counterparts who were beckoned upon by the Foreign Affairs Minister, Olusegun Bakari, who called on the Nigerian government to assist them, by giving them air support to be able to flush out these coup plotters. And beyond that, they equally called a second time requesting for more assistance from the Nigerian government to send in not just the air reinforcement, but to send in ground forces as well to be able to align with the government loyalists, the loyal soldiers in their country, to be able to, flush out these bad eggs in the system. Having said that, I am overwhelmed with the fact that when Vol said that democracy is the best system of government, and we've encouraged everybody and all parts of the world and Africa to embrace democracy, that we are seeing that it's as if in Africa we are progressing the more. People are beginning to clamor for return to military era. As I yesterday when the gunshots were heard around the presidential uh, villa in Benin, right, in Cotonou, a lot of people who, when the news started filtering in, there were people who were, apprehensive, while some were beginning to celebrate, and I will speak to that later. But as that was going on, when the military committee for refoundation, as they called themselves, led by Colonel Pascal, came took over the national television to announce the success of a coup by ousting the President Patrice from power. We thought that, yeah, these people have succeeded, and then we are witnessing another successful military takeover in our backyard here. Our president, kudos to him, was able to swing into action when that call from the foreign minister of Benin came in. They swung into action, and I keep speaking to the capacity of the Nigerian military, who are so gallant and who always, whenever they are called into battle, are able to stand their ground and discharge their duties, their responsibilities gallantly. They were able, to muster forces, enter into Cotonou, and they were able to flush out the rebel forces that has taken hostage the national television. And as I speak to you, they have all scampered, to safety. As we are speaking, Colonel Pascal has run away. Nobody knows where he's hiding at the moment. But that's a lot of, a lot of congratulations to Nigeria for being able to see that the democratic processes were restored and order, peace and order was maintained in a neighboring country. And while listening to Mr. President talk about it, he praised Nigerian armed forces for being able to, be the defenders of democracy in this instance. And that this is him, in response and carrying out the ECOWAS protocol to maintain good governance and ensure democracy thrives. That's why he was able to hear that call and marshal out our forces. And kudos to our Nigerian soldiers, and kudos to the people of Benin Republic, who, with the help of Nigeria, was able to, maintain constitutional order, maintain democracy in that nation. But that does not mean that we shy away from discussing the fact that while that info was raging on, there were a lot of Beninese who were so celebrative that yes, that their president Patrice Talon has been ousted. That's where I beg the question: what will make any citizen celebrate the takeover of their government or the push away of democratic institutions from their country? That tells you one thing: is either that the politicians in that city are not living up to taste or to standard in that country. That's the only reason where you will see people come out in the street to celebrate. But as we have it, why we leave that as a food of thought for them to reminisce their action over the years that will make their people celebrate on the street, on the outside of a democratic institution? Let them have a rethink and see how they have policies make impact on the life of their citizens as well, all nations everywhere, including Nigeria. That should guide us. That is perhaps people are watching, the soldiers are equally watching what is happening around them, and may, through your inactions or overreaching action, may be encouraged to equally attempt such. That's not to give credence that he should be allowed. No, we'll frown at it. In fact, democracy has come to thrive and has come to stay, and all hands should be put on deck to see that democracy thrives everywhere, not just in Nigeria, not just in Africa, but all over the world, as since it's been adopted as the best system of government in the world. So, in this regard, what I celebrate is not just that the constitutional order is restored in Benin, but one thing is that I am overjoyed that this our constituency, the military, are still capable, they are still gallant, and under a short notice, they were able to take over the airspace of Benin Republic. And then when the Nigerian ground forces entered, allied and teamed up with the Benin, soldiers, they were able to flush out the cupids. That tells you to what we speak about always, that the tale of the Nigerian forces are still being told in Liberia. The ECOMOG soldiers, their exploits are still being held. What does that tell you? That when backed when you support the Nigerian soldiers, give them the needed arms and ammunition, take care of their welfare, motivate them that they have the capacity to face the, the terrorists, the banditry, the onslaught, the security challenge that is confronting Nigeria. They are gallant. All they need is the political will from our leaders. They take care of their welfare, back them, and they will be able to stand their own anytime, any day. I tell you, I stand side by side with our Nigerian soldiers. I've been with them, and you see gallant men and women who do not look back when duty calls, who are ready to give their last breath in service to this nation. So when you give them the needed backing, they will achieve results. And that's why I am so excited this morning when I see that Mr. President is engaging with all our allies all over the world. And I suppose that that will help us to increase our armament so that we can arrange an unseasoned onslaught, through kinetic approach. Because I tell you that the carrots and stick approach didn't work. Time for stick approach entirely. And if we lead a sustained kinetic onslaught against these bandits, they will give way. They will crumble against the Nigerian state that is so fortified, that has held their own all over the world. And what happened in Benin yesterday would reinforce that to you, that we have the capacity, but what perhaps lacks at this instant is the will. And that is where we encourage our leaders to, like the U.S. Congress did raise that question, that they think that the Nigerian leadership doesn't have the will, to fight insurgents. They should muster that will, back our soldiers, and you will see that the insecurity that we are witnessing today will be reduced to the barest minimum. I have faith in the capacity of the Nigerian forces, in the capacity of our Air Force, in the capacity of our Navy, in the capacity of our ground troops to be able to confront whatever military challenge that we are facing. A lot of these boys have been in the theater for long. If you see what they go through to see that you and I go to bed, with our eyes closed, you give kudos to them. But with the right backing, they will be able to bring this security challenge to a standstill, and it becomes a story for the history books.
Thank you very much for that. Well, and that is all for today's headline on Sunrise on Aneke TV. Please do not forget that you can grab your physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or catch the paper online for more broader information. And also do not forget to go through the papers for you to get more information from any of the sources, be it The Nation, Quant, Vanguard, and the Guardian newspaper. Please stay with us, more updates are coming your way.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Date, Sunday, 14 December 2025. Time is 12 o'clock. Come take your seat. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.
right, thank you for staying with us. And joining us now for sports update is Mr. Good Hope, the man with the touch of sports in him. Mr. Good Hope, it's good to see you.
Thank you very
So
much.
what's happening in the sports world now?
Okay, thank you very much. A lot of things are happening in the world of sports.
All right, it's all yours. Let's go.
Okay, we start from the winners. We start from the winners, the people who have been making the waves over the weekend till now. And we have Lionel Messi of Inter Miami, who with his team, they won the Inter Miami, with the team, they won the MLS 2025 trophy by 3-1 over just yesterday. And when you look at Messi and his team, you see that these guys are really doing a lot, and that keeps the people. It makes the people are talking about him. You know, everyone who is a Messi fan right now is feeling like they are on top of the world. I don't know if you feel like that too.
Yes,
if you're a Messi
I'm
fan.
a Messi fan anyway.
Okay. Because I'm not a Messi fan, but we are all football enthusiasts.
Yes,
so we really, yeah. So we also talk about, over the weekend, we've seen Manchester City too clinching to the second position in the Premier League. And you see that Manchester City themselves have been struggling for some while. And right now, they are trying to get to that position where they have been before. And over the weekend, we saw Erling Haaland. I don't know if you have been seeing those updates about someone scoring 100 goals in the Premier League.
Yes, I've heard about that, though I've not been able to keenly follow this period, this season.
Okay.
Yes, that's the goal machine you're talking
That's
about.
the goal machine. Thank you very much. Because when he came to in the English Premier League, everyone was like, how will this guy really prove who he is? And you know what happened when he came? When he now came, everyone started, every of the people in that area, that Iceland part of the world, everyone started coming into the Premier League to show and it's only him that has been making the waves. And big congratulations to Erling Haaland. Then we move down to the drama that is going on right now between Mohamed Salah and the Liverpool team, where Mohamed Salah has called out his boss, making some comments of being disappointed and not being satisfied with the way he's been treated, because he has been benched for 3 consecutive times in the matches they've had lately. And you see, when you follow the matches, you just see that they've had they've been drawing, or they drew the match and they lost again. So there has been this inconsistency with the team that is called Liverpool, the team that won the English Premier League just the last time. I don't know if that is really happening, or we can say that Nemesis is just catching up with.
No, that's my team you're talking about.
Oh, so that's your team.
I'm a Liverpool fan, and it's unfortunate what's going on, where we'll have to, draw, manage to win, and then draw again. Losing matches is unlike Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I know that whatever happens, they will come good over time.
They will come good over time, but currently the rift between Arne Slot and Mohamed Salah.
Is it not within the preview? I'm asking. Is it not within the preview of the coach to decide to either bench a player or not?
Well, Mohamed Salah, from his own end, has been complaining that he could have just left this team early.
Okay, good hope. I'm now asking, has Mohamed Salah brought in the goals this season?
When you look at him play too, you see that there is hope for him.
There's hope, but
yes.
the coach, I'm asking again, the coach has the right to do what he feels that will work to produce results.
Of course he has, but when you look at it from the side of the one who is complaining that the food did not reach him, you understand that he's very hungry and he could have scored more goals.
But he should be a team player.
Yes.
He shouldn't be in the field always.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Thank you very much. So we go down to Formula One. Just yesterday we had Lando Norris claiming the Grand Prix Formula One Champion of the Year. When you look at Formula One and look at what has been happening over the month, you see that this guy has been consistent with his actions. He has been very consistent. He has been, reaching out to get the best. And congratulations to Lando Norris of McLaren team, who drove who has driven everyone in the team. He has driven all of them crazy. I can tell you for a fact that Lando Norris would next year make some good marks again. And we have seen him that just like few years ago, we had Max Verstappen clinch the champion consecutively 4 times. And right now we are having a new, an emerging force from Lando Norris. I don't know what that could be when someone has been winning. We could just attribute it to what's happening with Liverpool because it happens a lot of times in the world of sports. People are competing for something.
That's why it's seasons. You know, no one person rules through the season.
Yes, of course.
But just like you mentioned, Liverpool, you rest assured that Liverpool would bounce back. There'll be a resurgence.
If they actually come back, I am seeing Liverpool as this team who could do something if they are together, if they are mentally, the death of Diogo Jota has really shaped the team's psychology. And I could tell you for a fact, as a sports analyst, that these could be the issues we are facing currently. They could be facing, that the team needs motivation. Okay, let's draw it back to Manchester City. Currently, they are second in the league position. And let's not forget to talk about Arsenal, who lost to Aston Villa just on Saturday. Looking at the match, you will see that Arsenal themselves, this season generally, they came to with that mentality that if they don't win now, it's either they win or they win.
But they lost.
They lost. And see what happened. During that match, you see that the goal came at the very 11th hour. That was just an injury time football. That was what happened. But looking at Arsenal as a team, I don't think, or do you think Arsenal could get something out of this season, the way they play, especially in the Champions League? They have been winning consecutively for a while. They have been winning matches. They have been making progress, and currently they are topping the league with 5 points ahead, and Manchester City coming behind. And you know how Manchester City has been over the years. They always would want to have their own share with the cup. Okay, see, when you look at this now, what do you think about Arsenal, Manchester City being...
When you talk about Arsenal, I will see Arsenal as the usual. They always run. You understand? So what they have been able to do throughout the season is not something unusual.
Okay.
They will always do that. But at the end of the day, when the chips are down, Arsenal will be Arsenal. They will come either second or a distant third. So you do not expect that this season to be different. Yes, they have been able to, stay up a couple of wins. That shouldn't make them feel like invisibles. And like we've seen over the weekend, they lost that match. And that will tell you we're just entering into the December season where you expect them to lose more matches. Yes. Talk about Man City. Yes, Man City, they've been tested. They've been, refined through the furnace. Yes, last season was very bad for them. But we do not expect the repeat of last season. But that does not mean that we expect to see them fly away with a trophy, right? We're expecting competition. Even I suppose you rep Chelsea as well.
Well, I'm a Manchester United fan, of course.
But going by the jersey, a lot of Chelsea fans feel on top of the world right now because they've been, I suppose, against their own wild imagination. They do not expect that they will be where they are on the table this time around. But that we are getting into December, where you see the likes of Liverpool, who've been losing matches, come back. Where you will see the likes of Aston Villa continue to win matches like they did win over the weekend, and where you see teams like Leeds equally come into their own for dealing with us, being able to steal that draw from that match. You'll still see them be able to beat a lot of teams again coming into this December. So for me, the season is still open, and do not write Liverpool off.
Well, I would not even write Liverpool off as a football enthusiast who has been in the game for years, because we've seen people move from the deepest points of what they are doing to the top. Okay, moving on, we just have this last information on the world of sports. We are looking at Manchester City too. We've seen the young man Phil Foden. You know that song that says "Time of My Life." Come Navy. I don't know if you know that song, but
mentioning the time of his life, I
he's
think
really
he's
having his
coming
time.
into
Yes,
yes.
he scored in the 3 matches Manchester City, sorry, has played. He scored three consecutive matches now, and he has been helping the team to win and to win. I don't know how you see Phil Foden in the coming days, whether he will be so important for the team.
Yes, Phil Foden has been always an important player. More is expected from him. He's a player that we've been expecting to surpass this level. But for him to, come good one more time, getting into his best period is quite commendable for a player of his caliber.
Yes.
You remember that the Premier League is a very tough league.
Yes,
but seeing him shining this way, as a Liverpool fan, I'm not excited, but kudos to him.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And this is where we take it up, and this is where we have dropped it. See you again until next time.
All right, Mr. Goodhope, thank you for the sports update.
Thank you,
sir.
And with that, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll come back with more updates.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Date, Sunday, 14 December 2025. Time is 12 o'clock. Come take your seat. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here.
Still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now we're taking a look at our celebration for today, which is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. Now this day is not just another date on the calendar, but it's a major celebration honoring a very special truth in Catholic teaching, that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was preserved from original sin from the very moment she was conceived. This wasn't about how Jesus was conceived, it's about Mary's beginning, her purity, and her unique role in God's plan. And why does the church celebrate this day? Because Catholics believe Mary needed to be pure vessel to carry Jesus, the Son of God. And also this feast highlights her holiness, her grace, and her yes to God that changed the course of history. And also this day, Catholics around the world are encouraged, even required, to attend Mass. Churches will be filled with music, special prayers, candlelight, and joyful thanksgiving for Mary's role in salvation. And how this day is celebrated globally. In Italy and Spain, you'll see colorful processions, church bells ringing through town squares, and communities dressed in blue, the color associated with Mary. And in the Philippines, the day kicks off the festive Christmas spirit with novenas, Marian hymns, and families gathering for early morning mass. And in Latin America, parishes hold dances, choir performances, and street celebrations honoring La Inmaculada. And in the United States is also a major feast. In fact, the Immaculate Conception is the patroness of the country, so masses nationwide are extra special today. And in Nigeria, the feast of the Immaculate Conception is not just
is also celebrated. You can see it from Lagos to Enugu, Onitsha to Abuja, and so on, that Catholic churches fill up early as the faithful attend Mass because it's a holiday of obligation. So many Nigerians dressed in their best, often wearing blue and white colors associated with the Virgin Mary. And also this day, spiritual message is also to promote its core, that this feast is a reminder of hope, purity, fresh beginnings, and God's grace. So it's inviting believers to start anew, to seek peace, to choose goodness, just as Mary did. So happy feast of the Immaculate Conception to every Catholic people around, and also believers around the world.
All right, moving over to the Nigerian stock market update for Friday, December 5th, 2025. The market closed the week on a positive note, driven by renewed buying interest. We see the All Share Index, ASI, closing at 147,040.08 points, making a daily change of 1,563.92, which represents a plus 1.0% change. And then the market capitalization closed at 93.722 trillion, making the daily change of 996 billion, a plus 1.08% change. That brings us to a total of 38 stocks that advanced, while 17 stocks declined, indicating a positive market rate. The top gainers as at Friday were led by UAC of Nigeria, which is traded as UACN, closing at 96.80 kobo, making a percentage of plus 10%. They are followed by Transcorp Hotels, which is traded as Transcorp, which closed at 172.80 kobo, making a plus 9.71% change. The third on the list of gainers is Royal Exchange, traded as Royales, making or closing at 1.96 kobo, making a plus 8.89% change. They are followed on the fourth position by Ikeja Hotel, which is traded as Ikeja Hotels, closing at 31 naira 1 kobo, making a plus closing at 31.10 kobo, making a plus 8.74% change. And the fifth on the list is Veritas Capital Assurance, which is traded as Veritas Cap at 1 naira cent 4 kobo, making a plus 8.07% change. And for the losers, we will give you the three top losers as at Friday. They are led by Union Dye Consult, which is traded as Union Dicon, which closed at 6 naira 30 kobo, making a minus 10% loss. And then they are followed by ABC Transport, which is traded as ABC Trans, closing at 3 naira 10 kobo, making a minus 9.8% change. Followed by Aza Mansard Insurance, which is traded as Mansard, which closed at 12 naira 90 kobo, making a minus 7.19% change. And that's it for the stock market update as of Friday, for the close of the resumption of market this morning. We are well informing you that the market is open this morning, but do remember that due to the volatility of the market, please consult a financial expert or an analyst before you make an investment.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now it's a wrap on today's edition
Of Sunrise on Aneke TV. It's always a pleasure waking up with us and also having you here on our show every morning. And also, please do not forget to follow us across our social media handles, across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, all at Aneke TV. And also, please do not forget to call our phone number 070-3043-7110. I am Deborah Wakaba.
And I'm Uche Osai. Remember, we are not here to be average. Be unique. Keep watching Aneke TV to come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.
Chinua Achebe taught the world that African stories matter. Through Things Fall Apart, gave voice to the colonized and challenged stereotypes. His legacy is proof that the pen can shape perception and preserve identity.
Chimamanda Adichie. Adichie gives voice to African identity in a global world. From Half of a Yellow Sun to her TED Talks, she speaks truth with elegance. She urges us to reject the single story and celebrate complexity, a modern cultural beacon.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.
Dedication is doing your best, even when no one is watching. It is the quiet force behind every masterpiece and every breakthrough. With consistency and focus, you don't just chase excellence, you become it. Stay dedicated, the results will speak.
As families across the country prepare for the festive season, many are holding on to traditions that make Christmas special, from cooking together to church activities and family gatherings. These customs continue to bring people closer despite economic challenges. We hit the streets to find out which traditions Nigerians are determined to keep this year.
Tradition, Christmas is a celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. It's ceremonial because the event has already happened. So just very ceremonial. Acknowledgement of the birth of the Messiah. Okay, there is the getting together of the family. We see it as a time of holidays. Usually, apart from the traditional communal mass return in the community, because it's communal, and where I come from, Nnewi for instance, we see it as a time of coming together, a time of relaxation, a time of meeting people who probably for the past years you've not seen for a long time.
The Christmas tradition is, as a Christian, we all believe that Christ is born on 25th. The remembrance of his birth is on the 25th of every December. And bearing that in mind, you have to go home, reunite the family, then get prepared for the expected year to come.
That's masquerade. masquerade is very, 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 very fantastic and memorable. It is fun. I can't miss it. It's just once in a year.
This is the only time you see your family members together in a year. And it's just on that December time, which is 25th of December. So I would like to see my family again because in January, after last year, I didn't see them, so I may like to see them. That is why I'm just so happy about the Christmas, so that I will see my family together again.
In our community, we have what we call Christmas program. We do it every year. They will also mix me, but I don't have any option to travel based on the financial aspect.
There's no particular thing we normally do on Christmas, but
culture is identity, tradition is continuity, and heritage is memory. Together, they tell the story of a people. When we lose our culture, we lose ourselves. Celebrate your roots, language, attire, food, and festivals. They are treasures worth preserving.
Chimamanda Adichie. Adichie gives voice to African identity in a global world. From half of a yellow sun to her TED Talks, she speaks truth with elegance. She urges us to reject the single story and celebrate complexity, a modern cultural beacon.
Dedication is doing your best, even when no one is watching. It is the quiet force behind every masterpiece and every breakthrough. With consistency and focus, you don't just chase excellence, you become it. Stay dedicated, the results will speak.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here. Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this...
The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose house is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on The Insight. But do remember that On The Insight is a program where we bring to you heartbeat of issues, politics, topical headlines that help in shaping our nation. And today, we will be looking at a nation on the edge, helping us to x-ray a range of issues, happenings in Nigeria. Within this period is Dr. Gosun Eze, a public affairs analyst and a psychologist. Doctor, it's always a pleasure to have you on The Insight.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you for coming on that such a short notice. No problem. Yes. Today we're examining a nation on edge. A lot of things has happened in Nigeria. Talk about insecurity in Nigeria with the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. A lot of us believe that, yes, succor is on the way. Soon, like Donald Trump did mention, he will put boots on ground and the issues of insecurity will become things of the past. But above all that, we've seen heightened kidnapping. We've seen the Minister of Defense resigning from his position, and on top, we've seen a new nominee of ambassadoralists from the Mr. President, and a whole range of issues. And as we delve into it, please stay with us. Doctor, have you seen this list we're talking about that the president released? There are a whole lot of names on the list. But before I ask about the individuals, I want to get your view. Are you part of people that feel that is late that the president should have nominated ambassadors? He wasted he wasted much time in giving us ambassadors.
Yes, people may say it is late, but that does not mean that our foreign missions will not function. Ambassadors are just people who are coming there as representatives of the country. Otherwise, we have embassies, we have embassy officials, we have diplomats from good staff of Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs who are there. So the question of being late or not, the important thing has done it, and we look at the list. To me, I had always had a problem with appointments in this country, the way people are appointed. Most times we don't fix a square peg in a round hole. The method most of these executives, like we had presidents or governors or local government chairmen, the way they do their appointments, it does not elicit professionalism. If, for example, I studied education, if you place me in Ministry of Works, I don't know anything much about it. I'm only trying to say I object to the fact that sometimes appointments are made to patronize party faithfuls. Not that they have any professional input to make in that area they have been appointed. If you look at the ministerial, the ambassadorial list, for instance, half of them are career diplomats, while others are non-career diplomats. We have governors there. I don't know much about their details, but I know someone like the Mahmoud, the former Aneke chairman.
I'll give you the list.
Yes.
I'll give you the list.
Whatever it is, I'm only trying to say that
Yes.
the government, the president can take care of those who took part in his campaign, who played very prominent roles in that campaign, not necessarily by giving them appointments. They can give them contracts.
Okay.
If they had been doing something reasonable for themselves, as mean they have been consultants in maybe medicine or engineering or what, he can give them jobs related to those fields of endeavor. And it will bring professionalism into the way the job is done. But I know in Enugu State, for instance, there was a time a medical doctor was commissioner for education. Can you imagine that? I know when a lawyer was commissioner for works. What does that mean? Does it make sense? Okay, in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there are career diplomats.
Yes.
Who can be made ambassadors because they understand the terrain. But let me be specific with, because I've been interacting with people, especially I know their comments, their emotional comments about Mahmoud Yakub, the former Aneke chairman, state national chairman. If I should, by my own, I'm emotional sometimes. By my own assessment, and I want anybody to prove it wrong, that man is the only person I see that is qualified to be an ambassador to Nigeria.
He's the only man you see on that list.
On that list.
That is qualified to be an ambassador.
More than every other.
Okay.
I don't know much about others, but that's the person I see.
Okay.
Ask me why.
I want to ask why. You know, I'm trying to restrict myself, but now that you said it, and your views are so contrary to that of many,
yes,
which is not a crime in itself.
Yes, I want to express my view.
Why?
One, talk of credibility. In terms of academics, he is eminently qualified academically. He has held national position, national office, national chairman of Independence Electoral Commission. And two, in terms of credibility, the last election, the last presidential and senatorial federal elections, this is for the first time in Nigerian electoral history where a presidential candidate, Tinubu, lost election in his own state. Before the election results were announced, nobody expected that Tinubu will not have more than 90% of the votes in Lagos State. He lost to P2 in Lagos State. The number of registered voters in Lagos State is not less than 5 million. If Yakub had announced that Tinubu had 4.9 million votes, as against Obi's 20,000 votes, nobody will raise eyebrow. Everybody will believe it. So with that, he didn't mind that the president was coming, and he failed him. He didn't fail him, but the results he announced, and he stood. It had never been done like that in Nigerian history, where a presidential candidate, an incumbent president candidate, lost the election in his own state.
A presidential candidate from the party of an incumbent president.
Yes, losing the election in his state. Not just that. In Enugu State, a sitting governor lost the election, senatorial election, in his own senatorial zone. An incumbent governor. The result was announced. Heavens didn't fall by Yakub. The governor of Abia State, it was lost the election, senatorial election in Abia State, incumbent governor. The governor of Cross River State also lost the election, senatorial election in his own state. Governor Tom, Benue State, lost the election in Benue State, incumbent governor. That of Lalong in Plateau State was the same thing. Nobody would have believed it. So for that, I give him credit. He has the courage to say no and announce the result. Even at that, some people are saying that he rigged the election. Having rigged the election in the home state of a sitting president is enough to give him credit. So if it's not the way we assess people's credibility here that the Europeans assess credibility. Maybe he's going to a country where people have high regard for credibility. They would screen him and look at his records. And if they see this, they will see, yes, this is a man that cannot be swayed. I was at Afia TV when former Aneke chairman Humphrey was honored. The people were saying, why post-humo award that he didn't announce the election. I told him that if I were Humphrey Musu, I will announce that result. Even when Bacha or Bangan told him not to announce, I will announce it. Let heavens fall. That it would have made him a hero.
Okay.
So people are afraid of taking certain decisions when
they
are in positions.
But that would have been at the risk of his life, you know.
And so it doesn't matter.
As a student, I had an interaction with Humphrey Musu, you know, where I remember jokingly with my lecturer then. They said the man that they closed his mouth. But, you know, he rarely spoke about what happened. But he was seriously at the risk of losing his life.
Yes. Listen, if he had lost his life for what he believed was right, he would have been a hero.
Perhaps we wouldn't have been able to have the history, history that we're talking about.
Heroes sacrifice their life for what they believe is true.
But the truth wouldn't have emerged like we have it today.
No, but I'm saying that in that case, if I were him, if I was something else, I will announce that result.
Okay.
Even at the expense of my life. That will make me a hero. There are some people who at a point of critical, at a critical point, where they have to prove that what they are saying is true, they chicken out. So I give it to a mood. Every other person, I don't know much about their details, but I'm only trying to tell you that the president has the opportunity of, there are career diplomats. Put them there. They know the terrain. People who have never held any national office. People who have never even had the experience of even civil service career. You are sending them as ambassadors. Of course, the Senate still has the opportunity of screening them.
Yes.
And if they should be serious, if I were to be in the Senate, most of those non-career nominees will not go. And they should be courageous to say no. Even there are reactions.
Do you expect the Senate to say no to Mr. President?
Yes. Why shouldn't they? Have they always said yes in everything the president said? They don't. One thing about legislature is that you are majority in the Senate.
Okay.
And your own government is in power. A sense of going to the Senate does not mean going to be antagonistic of all policies brought to you by the executive. You are working hand in hand. It's your party. So when certain issues are brought before the Senate, they consider the party interest. They consider the national interest before they take decisions. It's not, some people call them rubber stamps. It's not true. And I want to use this opportunity to warn especially the Igbo race. We are too emotional about everything in Nigeria. We say anything today, tomorrow people will coin it in another way. We have to be realistic with our life. I'm sorry to say that somebody said recently that the Igbos are people other Nigerians have left behind. Can you imagine that? So I'm only trying to say that this list, let me just come back to it. To me, I don't know much about them, but I know that those people majority of those non-career ambassadorial nominees shouldn't be there.
Okay, granted. You've already mentioned at least 2 names in that list already while you were speaking. But let me, give you some names of the non-career politicians that
I don't know them.
Yes, I
don't know their background.
Yes.
But as far as they are non-career nominees,
they shouldn't go for you.
Most of them, they should look at their credibility.
Okay.
What they have done for this country before.
All right.
As to go to represent Nigeria in another country.
Okay. One of the people you mentioned while you were speaking is the former governor of Enugu State, who you said, in praising Mahmoud in the former Aneke chairman, Mahmoud Yakub, that he deserves to be on the list, that he lost election in his state. Talking about Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. He's on the list.
Yeah, I'm only saying that.
I want to get your reaction to his name on that list.
I saw.
He's been a legislator for long. He's been a 2-term governor, and he's among the people mentioned as non-career diplomats. Don't you think he has the requisite experience to be an ambassador?
Let me tell you, I've said it before. People who have had experience nationally, people who have served this country at national level. Assuming you go to a country like UK, assuming you are going to UK as the High Commissioner, and the Parliament decides to subject you to an interview. Say, you are coming here to represent Nigeria. In what capacities have you been a national figure to Nigeria as to represent Nigeria? I'm a public, I carry out a lot of research. I meet a lot of people. People even say that the two nominations of Ikpeazu and Ogwuanyi were configured by Aneke, the G5 team.
That should be an allegation.
Yes, I'm only trying to say,
yes.
People say what they like, but to me, I don't think that there's a saying in the military, in the security agency, they say no sergeant, no corporal rather, is suitable to be a sergeant until you decorate him with the stripe of a sergeant. Even if they have no experience about national issues or international affairs, when they go there, they learn it. And all doubts about their ability will be dispelled after some time.
Okay.
You can't get experience when you have not been given the opportunity, and you can't be given the opportunity without getting the experience.
Okay.
But it is better to deal with somebody who has the experience. If in the private sector, for instance, if you are coming for an interview, they are not much interested in your certificate.
Sure.
The first thing, have you worked in this type of organization before? Even as a clerk or even as a cleaner. But if you have never had any experience about it, and you have people who are there and they have the experience, it's not just the issue of Ogwuanyi or these ministerial nominees, Macedonian nominees. I'm talking about other appointments, even in the states. If you make a professional the commissioner for that ministry, it's a challenge to him. He will not fail. How many of the appointments do governors and presidents make based on professional competence? That takes me to the new Minister for Defense.
We're coming to that. I know you have a lot to unravel.
I'm only trying to
okay.
use it to support my argument.
Yeah.
When he was subjected to interview in the Senate, most of them were looking at him. They were learning. Let me give you an example with myself. There was a time Eswama advertised for a consultant. That time, Chidi Onumere was the chairman of Eswama board that time. Late Chidi. I was there as one of the candidates, applicants. We were 7. Others went in for the interview, stayed about 5-10 minutes and came out. When I went in there, I was there for 45 minutes, almost 1 hour. And I noticed they were writing. They were writing. And then at the end of the interview, we were told to go and I should be contacted. I went to stadium with my wife to watch a football match, and I saw that one of the interviewers, the chairman of the interview panel. He said, Dr. Eze, how are you? Madam, how are you? Your husband, during the interview, was teaching us what we didn't know. He told me in confidence that those things they were writing what I was telling them, my answers to their questions. Only one question they asked, I continue to digress. Eventually, they didn't take me. I asked him why. He said that they felt that I'm too superior for that job. I'm only trying to say, if anybody who knows how to do something comes in, you will know the difference. So we need to change this idea of, if there are many ways you can patronize those who you think help you during your election. Yes. Give them contracts. Give them some other things that will improve their life. Not putting them where they cannot contribute to your government. Governance is all about people who are doing the job. I have made a proposal separately to some governors on what I can do in their Ministry of Education. If I'm made the Commissioner for Education here in Enugu State, the day I don't tell the teachers will know. Because I passed through the crucibles. I didn't jump any level. I'll tell them that even before some of them graduated, I was already in school, a teacher. So you'll be talking authority, and they will know that this person coming in here knows the job. If you make a lawyer, minister, and one thing about professionalism, like I said before, you cannot, if you make an engineer, attorney general, and minister for justice today, Nigerian Bar Association will go on strike. They down their tools. It's an insult on their integrity and their profession. If you make a teacher, commissioner for health, Nigerian Medical Association will go on strike. Because what are you coming there to do? Are you coming to tell them what they know already more than you? What input are you going to make? So putting people in the right place will help the government. You have less to think. It's a matter of meeting the governor. You tell him this is what should be done. The governor is not a generalissimo or the president. They don't know everything. They still need people who know it. So bring in people who know the job, they do it, and you take the glory.
All right. Your points are quite clear. However, let me still go back a bit to one of the nominees, the issue of the INEC chairman. That you said is the only man who is qualified, which I bet many people will differ from you. But this credibility we'll talk about is still on the ground. Why many people cite him as an example of someone who shouldn't be on that list.
Why?
For example, they talk about glitches. That it was in his time that now the lexicon glitches now came into being in Nigeria, where it's used as an excuse for failure. We saw that with JAMP, we've seen it with WAEC, and they cite it as a prominent example why it shouldn't be on the list. When you talk about, yes, results in some areas, but do remember that that result went to court, was challenged in court.
So what happened?
I'm asking you.
What was the outcome of the court judgment?
I'm asking you. With those processes, do you think that somebody who has spared the affairs of INEC, which result was contested, the opposition till tomorrow has not agreed
Let me tell
to the
you
rulings
one thing about most Nigerian politicians. They don't take the path of honor. I'll count on my fingers number of times any politician in Nigeria came out to accept the outcome of an election result, except Jonathan. I can't remember any other person in the history of this country. Anytime anybody loses the election, he will say that he was rigged out. Where were you when you were rigged out? But if you win the election, it will mean that this is the best election that can be. That's always their character. That's always their behavior, based on their character. Right. Whenever people lose the election, they'll say it was rigged. And when they win, they say this is the most credible election that you ever come across. So there's no way you can. But the fact is that when you take certain decisions, people never expected you to take.
Right.
That Tinubu lost the election in Lagos State. That is it. It is enough to show that he never wanted, he didn't mind whose ox was God. He announced the result.
Okay. All right. Moving away from the issue of the ambassadorial lists, let's look at the defense ministry. What's your view on the resignation of Abubakar Badaru, a two-time governor, one of the first appointees of Mr. President that they were inaugurated as at 23rd of August, 21st of August, I beg your pardon, 2023. And suddenly he resigns, and we are told on head grounds. How do you agree with government on that? And what was your view on that resignation with the appointment of retired General Christopher Musa into that position?
Now, when there are two evils, one must be less.
Okay.
Putting somebody who doesn't have any military background and somebody who has been in the theater, had been the chief of army staff, had been chief of defense staff, and today is going to handle the ministry. If you listen to his speech yesterday, you will understand that he understands the terrain. That's one of the things I was telling you. You put in somebody who doesn't have an experience in the military as the minister for defense. What is he going to do? What input is he going to make? The present chief of defense staff was chief of army staff when Christopher was the chief of defense staff. There's already a synergy. They know the terrain. Even like I said, if you watch the senators when Christopher Christopher Musa was giving
addressing
the Senate. Most of them were looking at like morons because he was using a language that requires the time we are into now. He had been there. He had been a theater commander. He had held so many key positions in the army. If he had been there, if somebody was there, if you remember when Buhari came in, people believe that as a former military head of state, that he will understand the terrain. The first statement was that he said that the military should relocate to Maiduguri, not in Abuja. So I'm only trying to say this is the time whose time has come for us to put in somebody who, if you look at the security challenges in this country, there's no red line between the Nigerians and those bandits or whatever you call them. They live with us here. You don't know them. So it's a different kind of security challenge that will require another type of method to counter them. It is continuous. And if, like you said, people say, I was saying this morning that the minister said that he didn't resign. People say it's on health grounds, whatever it is. It's better that he goes and another person who has the experience will come.
All right.
Let us look, for example, this your media house. If you bring somebody who doesn't have anything about media, or a media house like this, what do you expect him to? What input is expecting him to make? Even these questions you're asking me, you are trained to ask such questions. Not a common man wouldn't count their questions the way you are doing it. And if I had not to understand the terrain, I won't be answering the way I'm answering. So I'm only trying to say that the former minister was a governor, whatever, but he wasn't a military man.
Okay.
The same thing with the current Minister of State for
Defense
too. But with the Minister of Army, the Minister of Defense is in charge of the Army and the Air Force. Minister of State is in charge of Navy and other
coordination. Yes.
In other words, none of them is senior to others in terms of ranking. But the fact is that they work in synergy. Like I know whenever the Minister of Defense now, it's Christopher Musa, will invite all the army chiefs. They will know that their Oga sometimes is talking to them. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So I think he's a good appointment.
Okay.
I've not had anybody who faulted it.
Okay.
Since he was nominated.
All right. 2 issues quickly. Given that you're an advocate of appointing the right people into the right position.
In every office.
In every office.
Anybody sitting there as the man in charge. Because if you come to any organization, you will say who is in charge. You don't say who are in charge.
Okay.
That person who is in charge must be somebody who will sit down, they listen and learn from him.
All right. On that note.
And he will gather input from them.
On that note, don't you think that Matawale should go as well?
Let's see what happens in the days to come.
And more especially where General Christopher a few months ago was saluting him. And now he has to take order from General Christopher Musa retired.
That's life. That's life.
Okay, let's look at.
Let's see what happens in the days to come.
Let's look at if
days to come, Matawale will also resign.
Okay. You've spoken about him being a right nominee for that very position, but against the fact that he just retired recently from the army, the same president that forced him out of office because he hasn't really...
He wasn't forced out of office. In the military, there's a career trend. There's a career trend. It wasn't forced out of, as far as I know.
But do you think he has delivered on that job? The president had the capacity to elongate his tenure or his period as the CDS, but he just left. A new person was appointed into that very position, and now we are bringing him back to head the Ministry of Defense. Now, if he had delivered, do you think?
Let me give you an example. If he hadn't delivered, he wouldn't be called to come and take the ministerial position of he is holding now. The president is not a military man. He's the commander-in-chief. Now, Christopher Musa is now in a position for policy making. He doesn't no longer take instruction from anybody, but he'll be responsible, he'll be held responsible for any failure in the ministry. And as far as the military is concerned, the defense ministry is concerned. So when you are in position, you are now at the head. Other persons are below you. And it is expected that you bring your experience to bear in making that ministry or that department work. So if he hadn't done well, I don't think President would have called him immediately to come and head the Ministry of Defense.
Right. On that note, Dr. Ugo on a short break. When we return, continue to probe on these issues. The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us. Thank you for staying with us on The Insight, and we've been discussing with Dr. Augustine Eze, a public affairs analyst and a psychologist who has been giving us in-depth analysis on the happenings in Nigeria. And we're talking on the nomination of Mr. President for the position of Defense Minister General Christopher Musa, retired. And Doc, yes, I know you're saying that he's the right person to hold that position. What you're saying is that, are we going to expect immediate changes? For example, in the area of kidnapping that's been going on, I've had about over 350 persons kidnapped in a fortnight. Do you think that these appointments will bring something positive, where these kidnapping and insecurity challenges will be brought to the barest minimum in no time?
Now, let me say something which I don't like people to be saying, but people say it rampantly. When people talk about kidnapping, banditry, what do you call it?
Terrorism.
It is not masterminded by government. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Government does not, it's not government that is sponsoring them. They are enemies of government and the enemies of the people. And government has the responsibility to protect the people who these terrorists and all these non-state actors are. So, but people give the impression that government is sponsoring them. No, it's not true. And if it is so, then how do you imagine kidnapping in one area, banditry in the other place, terrorism in the other place, and it's a new security challenge. There are new security challenges that government we've never been experiencing it. So we need time to devise a counter effort against those threats. So when we don't have such things, I would say that if not because of the steps governments have been taking so far, these criminals may have overrun us. But I remember when Aneke was campaigning for presidency, in Taraba or one of those states, he said that if he becomes the president, all these terrorists will run away. I heard him say that on television. Say, if I become president, these Boko Haram, they run away from Nigeria. I can assure you that these terrorists, with the mention of this new minister, they will know that the tide will change to flood.
Okay.
It may not be 100%, but you are going to know, I believe there's going to be a difference.
Anyway, you will tell me that you're not in the military, because I would have wanted to ask what impact do you think he will make in changing the tied to a storm, against the bandits, given that it's still the same military who lost a brigadier
but
general.
He was in a different position.
Who lost a brigadier general.
He was in a different position.
But it's still the same army?
No, it's not the same position.
So what you're telling me, what you're making us understand is the issue with the security challenge we are facing is not really the military who are the theater, but the leadership who are giving and directing the policies. That's what I want to understand.
The thing is this. There's a saying in the military that the blood of the soldier is the glory of the general. The man in the field, the soldiers in the field will always give a feedback to the general, where the strategy for, they will always tell them the problem they are encountering. And it is the general that will pay attention to what they need and possibly provide them with what they need in order to get the result they want. So there's no way the person who is in charge will not be responsible for all the inputs. Like in your businesses, you have marketers. They go out, come back, and give the management feedback on what they observe. Maybe other stations are knocking you out of maybe one or two other. Then you have to re-strategize. Security affairs is not something that can be made public. That's one of the essence of security. There are so many plans which the security agencies have, which they won't make public. Otherwise, you devote the person you are pursuing, the bandits, they will know your strategy and they go for a counter strategy against your plans. So let's give him some time. But I know it's going to be a different ballgame. And the success is not always 100%. But people will notice that there must be if there's no difference, we shall all be witnesses to say yes or no.
Okay. Now that we're talking about the issue of kidnapping, and with glory and thanks to Mr. President that true to his words, most of the kidnapped victims are being, returned home. But I want to ask, we were told that it wasn't through the use of kinetic expression, rather that the government spoke to them and then they saw reason and released some of these victims. And I want to ask your view, given that the Senate is now deliberating that no Nigerian should pay ransom and that we shouldn't negotiate with bandits or terrorists, whatever name they go by. What's your view on that?
It's a good decision as far as I'm concerned. If you quantify the amount of money that have been spent in paying ransom in this country, how do those criminals get their arms? It's through this money you pay them that they procure arms. Nobody donates arms to them. Very sophisticated arms. If you stop that, it will discourage them. By the time they run out of the money they have already, they can't purchase more. And most of these terrorists, I think, in my own thinking, have seen Nigeria as a fertile ground to make money through kidnapping and all other ways they have been making money. If you discourage giving money, the unfortunate thing is that when some relations are held by these kidnappers, parents and relations are always so worried that they can even, but what they need is for their child or husband or wife to come home. If they have the money, they pay. Even if you tell them not pay, they will pay and they get released. But sometimes they pay and they are still killed. So when there are two evils, one must be less. The evil there is that if you pay money to rescue the person, yes. I remember the Israeli defense minister sometime when Israel was being accused of excessive bombing of Lebanon and Gaza. Saying civilians are being killed. He said, you cannot talk of bombing without casualties. And bombs do not know who is who and who is not who. And most times, these terrorists, they use these kidnapped persons as their shield. I remember Nigerian Air Force was saying that their problem is not that they can't locate these people. But if you have to bomb them, you kill the person you want to rescue. Okay, so it needs some caution.
All right. Moving on, still on the issue surrounding security, because it's been a whole lot of issues in the past 1 month since our allies, the United States of America, beamed their satellites on us, with the president, threatening to put boots on ground. It's as if the insecurity in Nigeria has heightened more than it used to be. So, but looking at this very issue, we're looking at there was a meeting of the 19 northern governors. One of their resolutions in that meeting is that they are pleading on the federal government that mining should be suspended for at least 6 months. Do you think that's in order, given the economic value of those mining to Nigeria? Because this is a nation that is crippling with resources, where you talk about being out borrowing. The money we generate from oil don't seem to be enough again to run the affairs of this nation. And now the governors are calling that mining activities be suspended.
Now, I remember recently Adams Oshiwele said that the Chinese are sponsoring these terrorists because of the mineral resources in Zamfara State. Especially in Zamfara State, they have minerals that are very expensive.
Rare earth minerals.
Yes. And it is one of the factors that are driving foreigners from even sponsoring those criminals. So if you stop mining, every activity in those mining fields will stop, at least for 6 months. Then let's see how they make the money again to buy arms and then fight.
Okay.
So it's a good directive. You may be surprised that after 6 months they will extend it. And if maybe after 6 months there's no positive effect, they will have to rethink. But when you know the source of this problem and you want to nip it on the bud, I think one thing with us is that we're always very impatient. We don't give a policy time frame to mature. Look at the removal of oil subsidy. People cried and cried. Today we have seen that there are people who have held this country to the jugular. And they could look at our refineries. People are earning salary, but the refinery for more than 20 years is not working. Even when you put money for its rehabilitation, the money will fizzle out. And they come out to tell us that they are in Lupeng, or whatever they call themselves, or Pengas. So we have to address these problems from the source. Let's see how it works. But to me, I support that idea. It's not only the mining should stop. They equally talked about state police.
Yes.
They have given answer to it. But I continue to ask what this state police will mean. If you recruit these policemen, they will be in all the wards, all the communities as vigilante or what? I would have suggested something apart from state police.
Okay, and which is?
What I would have suggested is that every state police commissioner will be a police commissioner in his own state of origin. Start from there. All the, DPOs, divisional police officers, must be DPOs in their local governments. If you make this commissioner of police of Enugu State an indigenous of Enugu State, and the 17 local governments DPOs are from Enugu State in their different local governments, I can tell you that they will not like this incessant insecurity challenges will stop. If we start it from there.
Okay.
And maybe police officers from the rank of inspector must relocate to their states.
You think that will stop insecurity and crime?
Yes, it will cop it to a large extent. Because they know the terrain. If a commissioner for police is from Sokoto State and he's in Enugu State, does he know anywhere? But if you place a commissioner for police from Sokoto State to Sokoto State, as soon as he gets there, they say their son is there. And you hold him responsible. Let me give you an example when I was teaching. I was at Boys High School of Alpha. I had a headmaster, a principal who I wasn't getting on well with. Then I applied for transfer. The community said I will not go. The principal is from that community. They said that instead of me to be transferred, that they should transfer their son to another school. When we get to the school board, when we were talking about it, the commissioner, the then SSP, what they call it that time, he said that instead of removing instead of the person who is from another town staying here, that their son should remain there. Because if he wants to destroy the school in their town, let him destroy it. I'm only saying that my view about this state police is that remember when Buhari came to power in 1983, all state administrators, military administrators were from that state. Anambra State that time was Alice Madeke.
Okay.
So, and it was effective.
But you know that part of the argument that they make in favor of state police is that the state governors over time have come out publicly to say that they do not have control of the security architecture in their state. They can't give orders to the commissioner of police in their state without a recourse to the IG. They can't control either the garrison commander or a theater commander domiciled in their state without a recourse from the defense ministry.
Yeah, but if, for example, a state commissioner of police from Enugu State is posted to Enugu like today, I don't think he will not have understanding with the governor who is from Enugu State. I don't think they will be working at crossroads. I don't think so. And all the local government divisional police officers, DPOs, all of them from Enugu State, I don't think there will be no harmony, there will be no understanding between them and the governor.
All right, on that note.
This issue of misunderstanding will always be there when the person from different place is coming to stay in a different place. Okay. If, for example, the DP, assuming the Commissioner of Police, Enugu State is posted now, and Enugu State people understand that he's not getting on well with the governor, shall we be happy? So I'm only trying to say, instead of waiting for that time, if you establish state police, the fear is that the governor will manipulate them. So an alternative to me, which I'm suggesting to state police, is to post police officers from the rank of inspector to their states of origin.
With that, let's move away from the issue of security and insecurity let's come down to Enugu State. It's speaking to the budget of the state. The governor, Pitamba, just the first day presented a budget to the state assembly. The budget that is the budget of renewed momentum. And we saw him making a proposal in this budget of 1.62 trillion, and this budget, 66.5% increase from the 2025 budget of about 971 billion naira, and with 80% of this very budget is allocated to capital expenditure, and then the rest of it, to recurrent expenditure. But the emphasis here is on how this budget will be financed. And we are told that the funding source is majorly, from internally generated revenue. They are projecting that about 870 billion would come from internally generated revenue. And then I want to ask, a lot of people have been saying that the taxation in this dispensation is much. And we are looking at about 870 billion naira again to be generated from within the state. Don't you think that may lead to a heightened taxation?
Well, let me create, or rather make an observation. Before Peter Mba came to Enugu State, or even in Nigeria, people had not been paying tax. You agree with me?
Okay.
People are not used to tax paying. If you go to UK, as I speak to you, 80% of their IGR is from tax. They're not complete. I have a friend who said that if the UK had 12% of all the minerals resources we have in this country, nobody from UK will leave UK. So people had not been used to paying tax. So it is sounding very strange to them. Tax, tax, tax. If you go to the streets, how many persons pay income tax? Personal income tax. I remember when we were younger, most times these tax collectors, when they come to the villages, you see adults running into, male adults running into the bush.
Yes.
tax. I remember my father had a bicycle. He had a plate, tax plate, that was attached to that bicycle. So many people here don't even know. Talking about tax, it looks strange to them. And even the resources, where this tax, okay, we're talking about land rent. People never knew anything about land rent. But people now, when Peter Mbak came, he let them know that you must pay land rent. Even the people you buy land from in the villages or wherever, that's what they call annual rent. You pay to the person you bought the land from. So it may look very, but mark you that a budget is a proposal. The money, it is expected that from whatever calculations they make, this money will be generated. Minus plus. Okay? The important thing is that people should know that they should bet. Okay, look at, if you check all the KKs that are running on our streets and commercial buses and taxis, 80% of them have expired documents. Many of them have expired licenses, just to start with. And if you, when they are caught, they give bribe to the security agents. And I always tell them, if you must be giving 2,000 bribe every month on the road, you give to police, you give to all those who, even the what they call union agents. If you collect it for a year, it will be more than what you have to use to renew your vehicle licenses or vehicle documents. So I'm only trying to say it's a proposal. And if all the resources are harnessed, they'll make more money than that.
Okay.
So the only thing I'm advising is that people should learn how to. And again, there are parastatals and agencies, commissions that are supposed to be generating revenue.
Okay.
How far are they generating revenue based on target? If I take a swimmer, for instance, a swimmer should have a revenue projection and target based on the data available to it. But is it done? You stay on the road, people will park their car, they say swimmer, they are collecting money. The money they collect, they are cash. 80% of doesn't go to the, and yet they'll be paid from it. They maintain their vehicles and running costs, and at the same time dispose the refuse. All these are things that people should do as part of tax.
All right.
People are owing water. If the water corporation gives you the bill of people who are owing them now, you run away. So when government comes up with a policy where all these revenue prospects are going to be harnessed, it's not a bad thing.
Okay.
People, even on the road will move on.
So finally, your view is that this proposal of 1.62 trillion is not bloated, is in tandem with the developmental stride of the government?
The question we shall ask first, last year, or rather this year that is running out, can we honestly and genuinely say that there have been some physical changes in Enugu State? The answer is yes. At least people now can see what government is doing with money, even if it's not all. But people can point at one or two things that government has done, which have not been there. And people even are saying, where does the government get this money which is they are building all these things? So we hope that this increase should be relative to the money available to it. And I don't think it's a frivolous, or wishful thinking. They must have done their statistics and done their own work. But the question remains, the answer remains that this is the budget, minus plus. It's a projection. The money is not there yet, but it's hope that it will be coming from time to time, and then at the end of the day, we'll get it done.
All right. Before I let you go, I know I've been getting signals from the directors, but I want to get your final advice to the federal government, to Nigeria, to the state government on these issues surrounded by security challenges, budget implementation, and all.
But in terms of security, the community must be involved. The community must be involved. And there's no time the security agencies will succeed without information and intelligence from the community. And as Nigerians, we have to rise and say, no, this is enough. The role we are simply going to play is to give vital information to the security agencies, because these criminals are within us. Even in every community, there was a time in my community we decided to flush out all criminals. We said, everybody who knows anybody who is a bad boy in this community, give us the name. We assembled all of them. What saved the situation was that one of them said that we should give him a piece of paper, he will write the names of all the criminals. We made him chief security in the community. From there, he stopped.
Getting the criminal to police the criminals.
Yes, he stopped. He volunteered and said, I know them. So we have our role to play. But you must know also that there's never a time in our history when there had not been criminality. But when they become more sophisticated and changing with time, so the agencies will be changing also their tactics in fighting against them.
All right. And that's
and
it.
I want to advise, especially the Igbos, to remain, don't to be always emotional with topical issues in this country. We talk too much.
Okay. And that's it for today on The Insight. And with deeper analysis of issues is Dr. Augustine Eze, who is a public affairs analyst and a psychologist. Doctor, it's always a pleasure to have you on The Insight.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
And to you, our viewers, yes, do remember that this is The Insight, where your views matters. Please reach us with the hashtag The Insight, all at Aneke TV, on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and X. Till we come your way, same time tomorrow. I still remain your host, Uche Osai. Bye-bye. The Insight with Uche Osai.
Having the political will to confront whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the broad mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter who sorts is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on The Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
The safety of the girl child remains a pressing concern in Enugu as incidents of sexual abuse continue to make headlines. Parents, communities and authorities are being urged to step up efforts to protect young girls and ensure they grow up in a safe environment. Today, we are on the streets of Enugu to hear what the residents think about safeguarding the girl child.
One measure you can do is good parenting, because if the parents are able to inculcate or try to make sure the girl child knows her limits when it comes to the opposite sex, she will be able to also protect herself. Then I also think that it has to do with the environment as well. The people she associate with, the people she allowed to teach her what she's supposed to know as a girl. For instance, if you are the type that always go out with the wrong people, you always become wrong. You understand? So the girl child is a real problem that should be considered by their parents and also by whoever the parent allowed to associate with. For instance, most of them, at the age of 13, you see them roaming the streets, going here, going there. And before you know it, a girl that was once good becomes bad out of bad associations and all that. So for me, for a girl child to be able to get protection, she must be able to know that she has a future and she must set her goal. And she will not allow anyone to talk her out of her purpose, what she wants to become. By so doing, she'll be able to end up well. Then protecting the girl child it has to do with also the government looking into that. I think gender affairs, they are the one also in charge of that aspect. So they are able to do a lot, you understand? So for me as a person, the reason why I stood out here to talk about this is because I've seen a lot happening to a girl child, and I hate that with passion.
Parents will like make time for their children, ask them questions. If there is anything they have to say, give them a listening ear. And if there is any problem they have to tell you, give them a listening ear to actually and if they tell you, don't neglect it, actually tackle it immediately. And also the government too should also give justice to those who have been abused, so that, and also to bring the corporates to book. And parents mostly, you should put eye on their children and also ask them questions, check their devices, because the smartphones we use these days are very corruptive. So check their devices to make sure that they're still on point, and yeah, also know the kind of people you leave your children with.
There are so many measures to take to protect girl child. The most important one is to educate them, because most times parents feel shy talking to their female children about sex, about their body. So the best thing is to educate them, tell them about their private part, tell them when someone touches them unnecessarily, they should report, all those things. Also, even if it's their dad, anybody, because now these days it's not easy. Girl childs are not safe right now, because they're even at the risk, even where they're supposed to be safe with their guardian, with their parents, they're even at risk. So the most important thing is that schools should take measures to educate girl childs, because most times female children that are abused don't even know that they are abused, because they don't know anything about it. So I think that's the best thing, educating them about it.
When you want to protect a girl child from being raped, you need to be friendly, you need to be lovely, you need to be a counselor, you need to be disciplined. But there are many ways to discipline any girl child especially. You know, there's a difference between male and female. The way you handle a male is not the way you handle a female. Most times, the way people used to say that now, so, and we always need, like Oliver Twist, I need some more. So they will always like to buy ice cream, buy suya, do this. Most of the parents take their children out, and you don't take your children out from January to December. So they need all those things. So when you don't do it, you still shun them off. So what are you doing as a parent? So I believe you need to bring them home. Give them listening ear. Whatever thing they learn outside there, in school, in exam hall, out there, wherever they go, you need to hear from them. And when you hear from them, bring them down, call them to order, tell them the truth about the whole thing.
As voices from the streets make it clear, protecting the girl child requires vigilance, education, and community efforts. From Enugu, I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Date, Sunday, 14 December 2025. Time is 12 o'clock. Come take your seat. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here. Hooray!